This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnicky and I'm sitting here with Matt Stewart and a very hungover Jess Perkins.
Hey, papa.
You're just excited it's not you for once.
I haven't had a drink in like 2 months.
That's not true.
At all?
Yeah, at all.
Wow, not since last financial year.
Well, I mean, that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Or whenever you're listening to this, the appropriate amount of time ago.
Plus yesterday.
Yes.
No, I just want to know how smug are you feeling now looking across the table at Jess?
So smug.
Very hungover Perkins.
Look, I imagine she had a really good time and it was well worth it.
I did have a really good time.
And?
It was well worth it. No, it wasn't worth it. I threw up in a cafe.
Nah, it's not.
In a bin?
No, I went to the bathroom.
All right. Oh, no, I went behind the sandwich counter.
I think nearly nothing is worth that.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
I think, hangovers are very rarely really worth
But
it.
the annoying thing is that I woke up fine. Like, you know, you're normal, thirsty and tired. But
Praying
that's
for
about
death.
it. I know. I was like, wow, I'm actually all right. And then like 4 hours later, I was not okay. That's annoying. I need to know when I wake up what I'm dealing with.
Right,
Yes.
okay. It snuck up on you.
Yeah, and then I had to throw up a couple of times at a cafe and then another time at home. Then I had to sleep for a bit. And now I feel very average.
Do you reckon you're going to vomit again live on air?
God, I hope so.
Live on air.
Yeah,
This
because
This is Saturday night.
we will not be cutting out the sounds of you vomiting.
No. We will not compromise on that.
I know, I
We'll be
wouldn't
turning it
ask
up.
you to.
We're going to be at a place where people can get drinks very soon, Dave.
That's right, Matt. Will you be drinking by that time? Or have you got a time frame on this spell?
I'm trying for the rest of the year.
Oh, my goodness. Well, it looks like it's up to Jess and I to drink with you on August 24th when we come up to Sydney Friday night at the Giant Dwarf Theatre.
It's going to be so much fun.
That'd be great.
We'd love to see all our Sydney listeners and all the people around Sydney. If you can come along, tickets are on sale now. And they can be bought via the link in the description of this episode or the Giant Dwarf website.
They're actually selling quite well, so definitely get in there
Yeah, we're
so you don't
stoked,
miss
actually.
out.
That's right.
So good. Do we still have the early bird discount code? Did you just say that?
Oh, let's do it for one more week. One more week. If you book now and you type in "Do Go On" as a discount code, we'll give you a little early bird, something.
That little something will be some sort of error code because the discount code is goon.
Oh my goodness.
You fuck.
Oh my god. I'm never drinking again. Type in goon.
And then you'll get a discount.
Okay, but if
Which
you
is
type
what
in,
Dave has just been, a real bloody goon.
yeah, type in what I am. What I am is always right,
Yes.
except this one time.
Wow. What an
Right.
honour to have witnessed that.
What a smug prick.
Hey, Bob, I think in your current state, you're probably the best person to give us a quick rundown of what this show is all about.
Easy, no problem. What this show is myself, Jessica Ann Perkins. That boy over there, David James Warnicky.
Okay, I'm the boy. Yep.
That bearded man over there, Matthew James Stewart. Is we take turns taking a topic suggested by yourself, Heward Stewart.
Right.
Is that Heward Stewart's the person who suggests the topic?
All of them.
All of them. I did not know
That
that.
makes sense to one person.
The collective term for a Do-Go On listener is a
Right.
Heward Stewart.
Oh, Heward Stewart. Yeah. Did you know it, Dave?
No, I didn't know.
If
that.
I may continue.
Is that their
Okay.
last name or is that their occupation? Are they steward?
Dave,
No,
don't
that's
ask
their
a stupid
collective.
question.
No, it's like a flock of seagulls.
Yeah.
Right.
Or a murder of crows.
Right,
a
they
Heward
ran.
Stewart of fans.
They ran so far away.
Right.
Please go on. Sorry, Jess. I'm so sorry to interrupt. Your seamless description.
Right. So the three aforementioned actors,
Great.
comedians, performers, human beings.
Prefer actor.
Actor. We choose a topic suggested by Heward Stewart. We create a report on that topic and report that report back to the other two, one of whom is currently struggling very hard.
Right.
Dave.
And,
No, I'm struggling very hard to understand. Yes.
and hilarity follows.
Perfect. I'm excited that one of us will give a reportable report.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And that is started usually with a question. And this week I'm doing the topic, and here is my question.
Right on.
It's a very personal question. I don't normally open up like this. Who is my third favourite band of all time?
Third favourite. Well, you are wearing a UMI jumper.
That's true.
Great Aussie band. I know you like them a lot.
I do. It's not them, no.
Where would they come? Have you ranked them? How many have you ranked?
I've only really ranked to 3.
3. Okay. Well, the Beatles, we've talked about before. I believe they may be your number 1.
Yes, I think so.
Pantera?
Yes, that's who it is. Pantera.
Pantera.
I think a little bit after writing this report makes me not like them as much as with all reports I've done.
No, honestly, you should never meet or write do go on report about your heroes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a, maybe I sort of vaguely, but anyway, we'll talk about it as we go on. This topic of Pantera was suggested by listener Alex Hitchcock about a year or so ago on Twitter. But it's also been suggested a bunch of times in the last week or so because Pantera have been in the news.
Oh.
Sadly, they have. Jess is not aware.
I did not know.
The drummer died not too long ago, but I guess I'll mention that later in the report. So it's been pretty sad. It was, to me, it was mind-blowing because I'd already started the report when he died.
You'd already chosen this as your next.
Wow.
Because I'd been reading about him a lot and started writing the report at the time. Somehow Google knew that and messaged me saying there's news about Pantera. So that's how I found out he died.
Google told you?
Google texting.
Have you ever had that before?
No, I'd never had that before about
That's
anything.
so strange.
That is so strange. And do you feel responsible?
Can't help but feel like I played a small and pivotal role. Thank you so much, Alex Hitchcock, for the suggestion. Dan Hart, we had a bit of a chat about it as well. He's turned out to be a big fan, and he thought it'd be a really good topic. He made this assumption that you guys would not know much about them.
Correct assumption.
Okay.
Dave?
Yes, I have gone through a sort of heavier music phase in my teens, but never sort of the thrash type of metal, so I don't really know anything about them.
Well, I mean,
Except-
you're off from the start. They weren't. I mean, they were thrash influenced, sure, but they were not thrash metal.
Are they one of the big 4?
No, Dave. No. All right, let's get on with
Is that
the report.
wrong?
I don't
What are the big 4?
They were influenced by the big 4, but they weren't one of the big 4. They sort of went off on a slight fork.
Oh, I'm so out of my depth.
All right, well, let's start from the top. In the man Jerry Bob Abbott.
Jerry Bob, good.
Jerry Bob Abbott. He was a country musician and a record producer from Texas. And in 1962, at 20 years of age, he married Norma Carolyn. 2 years later, they had a son who was named Vincent Paul Abbott, who you would know from last month's news. He was the drummer who died, Vinnie Paul. He was born on March the 11th, 1964. And 2 years later, they had another son named Darrell Lance Abbott on August the 20th, 1966. Of course, 1966 is the most good year of them all. A mere 35 days after Darrell's birth, the Saints won their one and only VFL premiership. So it's a great thing that Vinnie Paul and Darrell both were alive for the Saints' big day.
They were there.
I assume they were there. If they weren't there, they were probably watching it on the bloody telly. I assume they get Channel 7
I think so.
over there, don't they?
How many
Yeah.
channels are there?
Yeah. I mean,
There's only at least 7, obviously.
Yeah, sure. Despite having no prior experience, Jerry Bob took up a job as a recording studio engineer in 1973. He was a musician. He'd been around it, but he'd never done any engineering work. But
But he got a job.
got a job.
That's great.
A friend, I think, asked him to do it, and he's like, all right. So his boys, Darrell and Vinnie Paul, would spend a bunch of time hanging out there at the studio. And bigger brother Vinnie took up playing the drums. And although Darrell also wanted to play the drums like his brother, there was only the one kit, so he took up guitar instead. Which is, I reckon nearly it would always be guitar my bet would be that would normally be the first picked.
Yeah, definitely.
If you lined up all the instruments, it'd probably go guitar, drums, bass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the bass.
I think it does depend on the era. It sort of depends how, like...
If it's a funk band, Maybe bass would be higher up the pecking
or like
order.
sometimes in some eras, like keyboard is big,
Right,
like in
guitar.
the 80s or something. But then guitar usually does trumpet. And the great thing about guitar is you can play along to you can jam on your own.
Yeah.
Drums, it's difficult to play solo.
Yeah, drum solos are great though. I saw Cosmic Psychos last month, and they at one point they go, "We're bringing back the drum solo." I mean, they did a big drum solo. It's great.
How long do you reckon it went for?
It was a good few minutes, but it made me think. I'm like, yeah, that was like not that long ago. Every gig you went to, there'd be a drum solo,
Yeah.
especially bigger shows. But they don't really happen that much anymore. Out of bloody fashion. Bring them back.
Bring him back.
As well as the guitar. Daryl was given a guitar as a birthday present, and Jerry Bob gave him his first lessons. Before long, Daryl was becoming a prodigy in the art of shredding. He recorded some of his playing into a cassette and entered into a local guitar competition at the age of 14, and he was selected from 150 entries to go into the final, which was played live, and he ended up taking out the whole competition as a 14-year-old against, experienced man in this guitar.
Oh, so it's not just for kids.
Yeah. Well, that's what I do believe. It was an open competition.
Wow, that is cool.
That's awesome.
And are they all just sort of getting up there and shredding for a couple of minutes?
Yeah, I think so.
Seeing whoever's...
And then
Shreddiest.
he
Yeah.
started just going around doing that, winning a lot of competitions.
Man, what happened to the guitar competition?
Yeah, I'd never
Bring it back.
come across that, but yeah, that is a fun idea. The brothers' early influences included bands like Kiss and Van Halen, and according to Jerry Bob, Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, who was from Ozzy Osbourne's band and his own band Quite Right, and Ace Frehley from Kiss were his favourite players. And the first song he remembers his boys playing was Deep Purple's Smoke on the Water.
Oh, yeah.
It's a classic first guitar song.
Bam, bam, bam. We can all play it.
On the old mouth guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bam, bam. And Dave on the mouth drums. Bam, 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 bam.
Drum solo. Mouth drum solo. Oh, God. I hit my leg. The rest is history. I won that competition.
They famously left the I hit my leg in the recording, and kids across America still sing those immortal words. Ow, 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 I hit my leg.
Oh, God.
There's blood everywhere.
I can see the bone.
I've got blisters on my fingers and I hit my leg. Jerry Bob and Norma Carolyn split when the boys were still quite young. So they lived with their mother, but according to Jerry Bob, they would often go around to his place, and he saw that they saw each other as more like friends.
Yeah, cool.
He talks
cool
about
dad.
it.
I'm a cool dad.
The interview was like really laying it on hard how he's a cool dad.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, we didn't even really have like a father-son relationship. We were more like friends.
And that's something to brag about, is it?
I know.
I wasn't very good at my key role.
Deadbeat dad?
Well, he taught Dimebag Daryl how to play guitar, so
Thank you for that.
wash your mouth out. How many parents have created Dimebag Daryl?
Yeah, good point. I'm so sorry.
Jerry Bob, number one.
I'm a bit annoyed to hear that his birth name is not Dimebag.
No, it wasn't. And actually, I let it slip. I was going to try and wait until he actually started calling himself that before I called him that. But it's so ingrained in my head calling him Dimebag that but he slipped up like a fool.
A fool.
Because he, in the majority of, maybe almost half or maybe more than half of the albums they ever released, he went by a different name, which I'll mention.
Oh, I don't know that name.
The brothers formed a band in 1981 who were at first called Gemini before changing that to Eternity.
Oh, wow. They both
Both
sound
good.
like types of like rings that predict your mood.
Yeah, that is kind of what metal was in the 80s, was that kind of vague thing. Dragons and fire and mood rings, I guess. I don't know.
And Stonehenge.
Stonehenge, yeah.
The big 3, 4.
That's the big four I was talking about before.
Yeah.
Mood rings, dragons,
Stonehenge. Fire.
and fire.
Could you have, if you had a stab at the big four, would you be of thrash? Would you be able to name them?
Yeah, I think Slayer,
Yes.
Megadeth,
Yes.
Anthrax.
Yes.
I thought Pantera was the fourth one.
Well, it's not.
It's the one that I assumed everyone would
Oh,
get.
Metallica?
Yeah, Metallica.
Of course, fuck.
Well done.
Thank you. I apologize.
Anthrax
for
is
that
often the one
stuff
that's
up.
the forgotten one because they were on everyone else from the West Coast, I think. They were the only like New York, if I'm right.
Right. I always thought Pantera was part of. So they're heavily influenced by those.
Heavily
four.
influenced.
So
So
a little
they
bit
were
later.
forming in a similar kind of time, but they didn't get. They started off in quite a separate side of things. Gemini and Eternity gives you a bit of a clue to the kind of band they were. They were more of that hair metal. They were influenced by
Yeah,
Van
sure.
Halen and Kiss and those sort of
Anthrax,
bands.
Slayer, Eternity. Oh God.
But apparently someone suggested to Vinnie Paul, as he tells it, they said, got this I think it was based on the name of a car, Pantera, and it's Spanish for panther. So he's like, he took the name of the band. Apparently they liked it.
That is a cool band name.
It's way better than Eternity.
Yeah.
Big time.
Do you reckon you would like them if they were called Eternity? Would they be in your top three?
I don't know.
Would you be embarrassed to say?
What's
My
hard?
first favorite band is called Eternity.
The way I got into them was at the time I was in I would have been 16 or something like that, and I was right into Californian punk at the time. You know, that sort of poppy punk like Pennywise and
No Effects.
No Effects and Sublime and Aussie bands like Body Jar and Friends of Rom and stuff. So I was like right into that and had a pretty narrow view of it all. And then I was at a party and I was saying, my friend was telling me all my close mates at school were into metal. And I'm like, I don't see it. I don't quite get it. And one of my mates, Paul, goes, all right, come with me. And we're at a friend's house. And he took me into this other room and he put on a CD. It was the Pantera's 1992 album. And he put the headphones on me, played track 4, This Love. And I listened to it and I was like, oh, I get it. And I went out and bought the album the next day. And I reckon within a month I'd bought their whole back catalogue. It was like a really quick transition.
That was a big influential moment.
Yeah, it really was. It's one of those few moments I've never heard anything like this before. Yeah, I don't know. That was the song that got me into him.
So he just sat you down and said, listen to this.
Yeah, basically. It was like a cliched movie moment.
I wonder how many times he did that to friends and it just didn't work. But for you, it was like, yep, I get it.
I mean,
I reckon and you build up memories in your head, but I'm like, in my mind, my mouth opens and I was like, whoa.
Whoa, and like your hair was just like blown backwards by speaker stacks.
Yeah. And then realized that someone had accidentally turned on a big fan. So they took the name Pantera, and in the early years they wore classic glam and hair metal kind of clothes like leather and lycra and studs, and it's a real teased up hair, heaps of hairspray. They really wore their influences on their sleeves, and people talk about those early albums not very super favorably. They're sort of like pretty average versions of that style of music.
Do you listen to those too, or is there a time where you start checking out?
Not really. They're sort of, with them, it's almost like you could almost compare it to Star Wars. Like there's the prequels, but these were just released in actual chronological order.
Right, yeah.
And they're basically very derided by the fans and even within the band. But I'll talk about that soon. So they had a few initial lineup changes, but then they settled on this lineup for the 1983 release of their debut album, Metal Magic.
yes.
Which has some of the funniest cover art that I've ever seen. Let me show you guys. They got a friend to paint this picture. I don't know how you describe that.
It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger holding like a giant weird knife, and he's got the face of a demon wolfman.
It's so good. It looks like a really good high school drawing.
Yes. A doodle.
Are they still in school?
Yeah,
they're
they're in their teens at this stage still.
Right, so it does look like...
It looks like a teenage band's
It's age
album
appropriate,
cover.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, their friends would have fucking loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It looks nude, this beast, but it's wearing a belt. There's no pants on there, but it's wearing a belt.
Wow, it doesn't have genitals.
No genitals, no pants. They're a couple of red flags for me.
Wow.
And do you reckon this is...
I don't know what.
Are they just releasing this themselves, or have they got like a record label?
So they're releasing on their own label, which is Metal Magic.
Nice.
So on this album, the lineup was Daryl on the guitar, going by the name Diamond Daryl.
Love it. Yes.
Vinnie Paul as Vinnie Paul. His classmate Rex Brown on bass, going by the name Rex Rocker.
Brown is pretty dull.
Yeah.
But I mean, Rex is enough.
Yeah.
It's individual enough. Rex Brown, that's good. You could
That's
go.
fine.
That's rockstar enough.
Rex Rocker.
Rex Rocker.
I love it. Makes me smile. Rex Rocker. And Terry Glaze on vocals. The album included tracks including Ride My Rocket, Latest Lover, Sad Lover, and Rock Out.
Yeah, Ride My Rocket.
Ride My Rocket. Oh, man.
All the subtleties of a high school band.
Yeah. They followed this up with 1984's Projects in the Jungle and 1985's I Am the Night, all released on the Metal Magic label
And is their dad recording it for
and
them?
produced by Jerry Bob.
That's fucking cool.
He's also their manager.
Oh, right.
So he's helping. He's running the show really. Because I mean they're underage at that stage, so he's getting them the gigs and all that sort of stuff. And they're eking out a decent sort of getting a decent following around the Texas scene, playing a lot of clubs and that sort of stuff. They started out playing a lot of covers and then started building in their originals into their sets from these albums. Following on from I Am the Night, the metal world was changing direction. Pretty broadly, and in 86 and 87 huge albums were released by the big four bands of thrash,
I'm so annoyed at myself for going out.
which Dave already mentioned: Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, and Megadeth. And Pantera were looking to move into a heavier direction, and vocalist Terry Glaze left the group. So they were listening, different members were listening to different releases of those albums. The brothers were right into Metallica early. They said they saw them in their earliest days in small shows. They were right up the front watching Metallica play. Anyhow.
And what is Terry Glaze doing now? Do you know?
He went on to have, moderate success with other bands. But yeah, he
To me, he sounds like a bricklayer.
yeah, it's probably.
You go on to have moderate success as a bricklayer?
As a bricklayer, yeah.
Yeah.
Terry, a window glazer.
Thank you. Yep.
Well, sure. So they were looking to move in this heavier direction, and without Glaze, they needed a new vocalist, right? So they tried out many replacement singers, and they had a 3-year break trying out different singers playing different gigs before Phil Anselmo was given the gig.
Right, 3 years is a long time.
2 years younger than Daryl, Phil was the youngest member of the group. In 1988, Pantera released their first album with Anselmo. I feel like I've never had to say his name out loud. Anselmo, titled Power Metal.
Power Metal.
Power Metal. While still holding on to many of their old hair metal roots, this was easily their heaviest album to date. And I listened to it a few times the other night for the first time in ages, and I quite like it. It's still pretty kind of hated on all those first 4 albums. I've seen it as a bit of a joke, but
Right.
I reckon you can hear the progression as they go, and I think it's a good album anyway. But others definitely disagree.
Is
with
it
that.
like because power metal is now? Is it considered a genre? Is it actually power metal?
No,
Or
it's not
just
power
to
metal.
call it that?
It's somewhere between that hair metal style, that glam rock style that they were, and moving towards that more the power groove style that they ended up basically inventing, the groove metal style of their 90s albums. But it fits perfectly between the album before and the follow-up album. It's a clear stepping stone between the two. I think it's a good album. And this was their final self-released album, and also their last working directly with old man Joe Bob, good friend and
father.
and father. Yeah,
But
Good friend and average father.
yeah, friend first, father second.
yeah. I don't want to cast aspersions on him like he was some sort of dad character.
Audio engineer third.
Yeah, it was more of a Rory and Rory's mum from that show combo. Why can I not think of the name of the show, but I can remember
Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls.
Lorelai.
I was
Lorelai.
thinking of Ally McBeal.
Ally McBeal, that's who I was thinking of. Alec McBeal and Rory.
Yep.
The four self... Do you reckon there's many podcasts that are all about Pantera that are also talking about Rory and
Gilmore
Lorelai?
Probably.
I reckon there'd be 7.
Good to be in the top 7.
Yeah, we're number 7, bringing up the rear, but that's the good thing about there being only 7. You're definitely in the top 10.
Yep. Easy.
The 4 self-released albums from the 1980s were never re-released after their initial runs, and I think I read there were runs of about 1,000 copies, something
Right,
like that.
and are they available now on things like iTunes and Spotify and stuff like that?
No.
Or they're like, that's not really us?
Yeah, it's basically been deleted from their history. It's unofficial. It's not canon, sort of thing.
Right.
But-
Wow.
Feels like they should have changed the name then.
Yeah, no, that does feel like that would have made some sense, right? I found that interesting.
But they were like, this name is so sweet,
Yeah.
we just can't drop it.
We can't
That's it.
top it.
I mean, it means panther in Spanish.
Pantera. So yeah, those old they are still floating around. If you want to buy them, you're looking on eBay for $1,000+.
Seriously, to
Yeah.
listen to an album that probably sucks.
Yeah, I guess so. It's all about scarcity in the market or whatever.
Yeah, the Trough of No Value that Nick Mason spoke about on the Marvel
Yeah.
or the Superman episode.
So yeah, they basically disown them. Even their website, the official Pantera website, on their discography page does not show them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That muscle man with no penis is not on the official
That's-
website.
Excuse me, that Muscle Wolfman.
Muscle wolf man with no penis,
Yes.
but a belt.
But a beautiful belt. You'd have to assume that a lot of that has got to do with the change in musical direction. They also now have funding, and maybe they can better realize the sounds that they want to do, and they're getting closer to what they were trying to do, maybe. Or however, they've described it in different ways in interviews, but they don't talk about the old stuff very much. According to Vinnie Paul, after they finished Power Metal, they looked at themselves and said, you know what? These fancy clothes and all this crazy hair ain't playing music for us. We are. So we decided to drop the image and focus more on the music and kick as much ass as possible.
Yeah, all right.
Hell yeah, as Vinnie Paul would say. The change happened quickly, and everyone involved seemed to kind of take the credit for the change in direction. Vinnie Paul kind of just did then. According to Jerry Bob Abbott, he received the following advice from a relative stranger who worked in the music business. The man said, your band is too good. It does too many things well, and it's too diversified. They need to decide what they want to do that one thing, and somebody major will sign this band. And according to Jerry Bob...
This podcast is too good, by the way. We need to tone back
We
that
cover
goodness.
too many facts.
Too much-
We have too many jokes.
Too much personality.
Yeah.
We need to...
Pick one.
Beige. That's my personality. Beige.
Beige.
And I'm going to get this band signed.
Beige.
Beige.
I love it's just great in the return. This guy was like, you're the best. If anything, you're too good for humans to hear.
Yeah.
And we were like, you know what?
Tone it down for our dumb ears.
He's got a point.
And this is how he responded. He said, I thought enough of what he said to tell the boys. They all smiled, looked at each other, and each one of them knew exactly what they wanted to do. And that's what you hear on the next album, Cowboys from Hell. So
Very good.
he's saying, I got a little advice, and I was the one who told him, and that made them go, yeah, we're going
Right.
to change direction now because of what that stranger said to you about us being too good. So he was happy to take the credit. Vinnie Paul sort of has, but also was singer Phil Anselmo, stating in a 2010 interview, I showed them the fucking path, man.
My favourite telling of the story so far.
Yep.
Describing a time he played a Slayer song on vinyl for Daryl in 1988. According to Phil, by the end of the song, Daryl was like, damn, son, that's badass. So right there and then, I had really broken some headway, according to Phil. So he changed his mind with a bit of Slayer vinyl.
Right. I wonder if your friend who showed you Pantera in the first place would retell the story a different way.
I'd love to, yeah.
Basically, my friend came in and said, I don't like any good music. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to sit him down. And I blew his mind.
Well, that's kind of how I told the story.
And then I said to him, you're too good for this party. You got to leave this goddamn party. And I said, you're right.
You have a lot of friends in the South, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I assumed that you first had Pantera, the Texas band in Texas.
It was in the south suburbs of Melbourne.
Texas.
Texas.
The Texas of Melbourne.
Texas tea, which is oil. Not relevant to anything, but a fun little phrase there.
Fun thing to say.
Now,
Texas tea.
in the old podcast, that would have been good, but there's too many facts. You've gotta
Black gold.
scale
Texas
it-
tea.
Scale it down.
Okay, great.
You've got to be less good.
Yeah, less good.
Less good.
I'll do my best.
I'm doing my part.
Jess is very subdued over there.
I am struggling.
Luckily, we're doing a topic that she's finding fascinating.
And
No,
luckily-
it's really interesting.
And she knows a lot about Pantera, so
And
she's
I
holding
love-
back her own facts.
No, but I love Matt's knowledge and passion. It's
It
very
is cool.
exciting. I'm also just eyeing off this chair and heater that are next to me that are kind of blocking my exit to the door in case there is a vomit situation.
Is it
Should we get the bucket?
It's been a long time since.
Fetch the bucket.
At least that was like in the old studio where you had to run down 2 flights
Yeah.
of stairs.
Yeah, this is straight
I'm
across to a
straight.
bathroom.
Yeah, I'm close.
Yeah.
And if that happens, please do continue.
Should we lift the
without
seat
me.
in advance?
No, I can probably do that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
One of the
Jess is the one she's sitting on?
Yeah. We'll
one
carry you
of
to
the
the door.
vomits today, I did not have time to lift the seat.
Oh.
As in, like
The one in the
cover.
cafe?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Too
Was
much
anyone
information.
else like around? Like, were people like eating their eggs and bacon and they could just
No,
hear you?
toilets were separate enough. So
Thank
it was good.
God.
It was awful. It's not been a good day.
Did you eat anything at the cafe after?
No, I had a bite of toast, thinking just some plain toast might help, and a peppermint tea. I thought that would
Oh,
settle my tum.
that's a great combo.
And I took one bite of toast and was like, "Excuse me," and went straight to the bathroom again. Threw it.
Excuse
straight
me,
back up.
there is something wrong with this toast. It's making me vomit. I mean, yes, I vomited 5 times before I had a bite, but
But it's your fault, and I shan't be paying.
If you can't stomach dry plain toast,
Yeah,
then I think something's gone
You're
wrong.
fucked.
Allow me to go on. Vinnie Paul also disagreed with the others, saying that it's certainly with Phil saying that he was the one who
Vinnie
brought him
Paul, yeah.
brought him to the heavier sound. This is what Vinnie Paul said, because a lot of people have said, in part because the timing also of them changing direction. Phil comes in, they take a little step towards this sound, and then the next album is when they're sort of seen as starting this new thing. Even though it's not miles away from the one before, but when Phil gets there, this is when they do tend to get heavier. But so a lot of people do correlate the two things. But anyway, this is what Vinnie Paul says when people suggest that. He says, a lot of people think that Phil was the driving force behind the heaviness, but that's not true. My brother wrote the guitar riffs. I wrote the drum parts. We were fans of that kind of music.
Right. Okay.
Pretty strong terms there.
Yeah.
He never said anything like, I showed them the fucking path, man.
Yeah, I'm on that guy's team.
You won't be when you hear more about him later. But little sizzle there.
Oh no, I've picked the wrong one again.
I already don't like him because his name's Phil.
He doesn't sound like a rock star, does he?
Yeah, Phil, the
Philip.
rock star.
What happened to Rex Brown? Get him back in the band.
Hi, I'm Phil. What do you do, Phil? I'm a rock star.
I show people the fucking path, man.
Okay, Phil.
right,
yeah,
Phil.
here's all the other cool rock stars in my band. Craig.
Ian. Ian on keyboards.
Phil, we'll give you the login for our accounting software and
Yeah.
maybe just
Just
let
turn
us
it
do
down,
the
mate.
bloody rock and roll, mate. Phil. Rex Brown, you'll be happy to know, is he never left. It was Terry who left.
Terry.
Well, don't worry, guys. We replaced Terry with someone who at least sounds like a rock star. Welcome, Phil.
Phil.
I never really thought about that. It was Daryl, Terry,
Vincent.
Vincent, and Rex. Rex is the only one.
Rex Rocker.
Rex Rocker.
Or did he go back to Brown later on?
He went back to Brown later as well. Yep. So over this new direction in sound and image was locked in sort of towards the late 80s. And they were maturing as a band. And despite having their new album, Cowboys from Hell, written and demoed, they were having no luck with major label interests. According to Vinnie Paul, every major label had rejected them 23 times. Feels very specific, and I'm sure that was him being... doing that exaggerating thing. What's that word where you do things?
Hyperbole.
He was being hyperbolous.
Hyperbolic?
Hyperbolock.
There we go.
Nailed it.
While this was going on, Daryl, and you're the hungover one.
I know.
While this was going on, Daryl was invited to audition with thrash metal legends Megadeth.
Really?
According to Vinny, Megadeth frontman Dave Mustaine actually offered him the job.
No,
Why
it's a
don't we
fucking
call our
name.
band Death? No. It needs to be bigger. Big Death? No.
Bigger?
Huge death.
Well, not that big.
Ultra Death.
Oh, that's not bad. That probably exists as
That's
a name.
probably better than what we are going to choose, which is Megadeth.
Megadeth.
I like the name. Anyway,
And
No, I
what's
do
the-
too. It's just fun to pull them apart sometimes.
The singer's
Yes.
name is Dave
Dave Mustaine.
Mustaine. Oh, I thought it was Dave Mustang. I was going to say that is a fucking
That's
name.
great.
Hey guys, I'm Dave Mustang.
Do you know anything about Dave Mustaine as an aside?
No, please tell
He
me.
was an early member of Metallica. He was booted, and Kirk Hammett came in to replace him from Exodus, one of the big thrash metal bands, who Pantera actually toured with later on. But so there's a lot of movement around different bands, but he never really forgave him, Dave Mustaine, even though he formed a band.
That sold really well.
So like maybe the second, or that'd be obviously top 4, but probably top 2 or 3 selling metal bands of all time. But he's never really lost that chip on his shoulder. There was a documentary about Metallica a few years ago called Some Kind of Monster, and he was featured in it, and you could tell he had not moved on despite so much success.
Wow.
And instead of being the one of the guitarists and not the front man of this band, he moved on to be the main man in this band that was so successful, and he still hasn't been able to get over it. It's a bit sad, really. He's got just so many classic influential albums of his own, written all with his own, at his own.
Yeah,
hand.
that's crazy, isn't it? It's like, well, Metallica may not have been what Metallica is if you hadn't left, and Megadeth certainly wouldn't be if
Yeah.
you hadn't left,
Yeah.
so it's all good.
Yeah, it feels like it's win-win. And he just thought he was roughly done by being kicked out. He was he drank too much, and I think he sort of accepts that he was trouble at the time, but he thinks they should have tried to look after him and bring him back into the band rather than just cutting him loose.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a fascinating character, a metal legend.
Please
Dave
don't
Mustaine.
cut me loose. I won't do this again.
Do you like how he also came up with the name Megadeth? I don't know if this is 100% true or not, but I believe it's so that they would be right next to, but just in front of Metallica at CD
Oh, right,
shops.
alphabetically.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I don't know if that's true or it's coincidental, but it feels like a big coincidence if that's not the case. MEG rather than MET.
I love when people think marketing like that.
Yeah. So, that's why they went with Mega instead of Super Big Death.
What about Metal Death?
Metal Death.
That'd be
That's pretty good.
That's even closer to Metallica.
Yeah, that would have been
Alphabetically.
What
touching.
about Metallica?
No, that'd be in the A section.
Exactly.
They're number 1. A Metallica.
Yeah, get it in nice and early.
We really sucked in.
Yeah, because people when they're shopping for metal obviously start at the top of the CD section.
With the offer of joining Megadeth.
And were they popular yet, or were they just starting out?
Yeah, no, they were already a pretty big band. So they'd already released big influential albums by that stage. So they were. It would have been a big, well-paid job because, as well as being offered the job, it would have come with health insurance, a Nike endorsement, and obviously a lot of money.
Wow, Megadeth had a Nike endorsement.
Yeah, isn't
I'm
it?
more impressed with health insurance.
Yeah, that is cool. I mean, in America, that is a huge
That's so
deal.
grown up.
It is very grown up, and I think a lot of people in America don't necessarily get that. But if you join a thrash metal band, that's
What you're going to get.
When parents are like, "Oh, I really just hope my kids take a steady job in thrash metal or something that'll pay the bills.
Yeah,
don't chase your dreams."
Dimebag, does it have benefits? Well, actually, yes.
Well, Dimebag is very different because his dad was his mate.
Yeah,
and
right.
He did not have a father figure
Yeah, it's
to
like,
give
but
him that advice.
does it come with sweet times? Woo, woo, woo!
Ooh.
So Daryl was offered this gig guitaring. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, guitaring for Megadeth. But he was loyal to his brother, and he said he would only join Megadeth if they also wanted to hire his brother as well.
To,
And the
to do the drumming.
Yes.
It was the real drummer of Megadeth was like, what?
Yeah, there was already a drummer, so there was no position. So he said he wouldn't join.
Also, I want to be the singer, and I want to write the songs, and I want the band to be called Pantera.
But can we still get that Nike deal?
Yeah.
And the health insurance.
I really need that health insurance.
And the money.
But this personal sacrifice by Daryl meant that the rest of the band really attacked things with a new focus. They're like, well, look, he's giving up Megadeth, then we really have to make this work.
Let's give him Mega life.
Yeah. In 1989, the band finally caught a bit of luck due to a hurricane. Isn't that amazing?
I just wish that sentence stopped there. They caught a bit of luck due to a hurricane.
Well, you could finish the sentence there.
Please do.
But would you like me to? In 1989, the band finally caught a bit of luck due to a hurricane.
Amazing.
Next paragraph. But yeah, due to a hurricane, this big news when a record executive named Mark Ross had to take an unplanned stopover in Dallas due to the weather.
Oh.
He asked his boss if there was anything useful he could do while he was there, and his boss told him he'd been following this unsigned band named Pantera and asked Mark to go check them out and see if they were any good live.
Mark's another name that's not very rock star.
Yeah, it's Mark Ross, his full name as well.
Mark. Rock on, Mark.
Mark, we got a couple of bongos. You any good on those? Ian, give him the keys to the bongo drawer. Oh, Mark, you got skills, mate.
My favorite.
Yeah,
folk music.
one of their first songs was the Full House theme. Skibidi-ba-ba-dow. Is that what you're singing?
Yep. Sure was. Do go on.
Did you see Arnie Donna recently met
Yes.
Bob Saget
Yes.
from Full House?
I did 2 podcasts with him.
What a life that
That's
is.
so good. I mean,
I bet they have a Nike deal and health insurance.
Terry Jones from Monty Python go and see them on their
And
last
Eric
tour.
Idle.
Yeah, Eric Idle and
And Dylan Moran as well.
Dylan Moran, yeah.
They just hang out with the big wigs now. Oh, what legends.
They're too cool for us now.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
It's nice knowing you.
Not being cool.
So Vinnie Paul had spoken to so many execs that he didn't get his hopes up when Mark called. Mark called him up and said, "Are you playing tonight?" And Vinnie Paul said, this is Vinnie Paul quoting himself years later, "Well, dude, we're not really playing a gig tonight. We've got a birthday party that we're playing for this chick at a Mexican restaurant in Fort Worth. Feel free to check it out."
So cool.
And the record exec's like, wow, these guys sound like they've really hit the big time.
Yeah,
I'm going to go
I'm-
check them out at this 21st at a
I'm
Mexican restaurant.
impressed.
So they were playing in the corner of a Mexican restaurant in front of about 40 people. So for them at that
Not
stage,
bad.
even for them, it was a small show. They were playing on the floor in the corner.
In the corner, and they were like, I hope you enjoy your burrito. This song's called Mexican Cowboy Death.
That's good.
Do they have a song called Mexican Cowboy Death?
No.
Oh, missed opportunity.
They never recorded one anyway. I'm sure there was probably...
Yeah, early on.
There's a demo of that somewhere. Around 4 songs in, the vibe was strange. And they say that it was a bit of a weird vibe. Everyone was a bit drunk. Cake was flying around everywhere. The floor was slippery due to so much cake. So they were watching their step. They were, because they were worried about slipping over. About 4 songs in, the exec just walked out. And Vinnie Paul remembers singing, he goes, "Well, there goes our big shot again." And about 4 songs later, though, the exec comes back in. And after the set, Vinny asked him, he goes, "What did you think, dude?" And he said, "I loved it. It was incredible." So Vinny says, "Well, why'd you leave, dude?" And he said, "I went out to the car to call the boss and tell him we're signing you guys."
Oh, wow. Dramatic.
That is so cool.
Very cool.
I'm really well told by Vinnie Paul.
He absolutely nails that story.
He nails everything.
Yeah. He showed them the fucking path.
No, that's Phil.
That's Phil. Oh, yeah, sorry. But Phil was performing at the Mexican restaurant.
He was, that's
Yes.
true, yeah.
Hey, guys, welcome to the Mexican restaurant. I'm Phil. Oh, boo.
Oh.
Boo. Fuck off, Phil.
The birthday girl was her favourite band. It was a special request.
That's cute.
Was it her favourite cake that was flooding the floor?
Yes. Of course it
What
was.
a waste of cake.
It's the dumbest question you've ever asked.
God, Dave.
And a long list of dumb questions, Dave.
Oh, the list is so long.
Dave. Hey,
Dave.
imagine Dave in a band.
Yeah, Dave Mustaine.
Dave Grohl.
Imagine. That's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Now with the financial backing of a major label, Pantera went into the studio to record the album that they see as their official debut. This is the one that is actually listed on their website's discography.
Right. Is it still they stick with the Cowboy title?
Yeah, Cowboys from Hell.
It's a great title.
It's an idea that, so apparently Vinnie Paul came up with that name. He liked the idea of that. Phil thought it was a bit lame, but they wrote a song around that name, and that was the opening track.
Mexican Cowboy Dance.
There's also, for people, including you two, saw me at my Melbourne Comedy Festival show. That was the song I came out to on stage at the start of the show.
Yes.
Was Cowboys from Hell.
Oh, my other leg! God damn it! I'm not a very good drummer.
Thank God you didn't play drums.
Oh, gosh.
You have no legs left.
I'm a really good brother, but a terrible drummer.
Sure. Oh, well, we'll have to check with your sister on that one, to be honest.
Sorry, I was being Vinny.
Right.
He's great
believe
brother.
that of you.
Terrible drummer. Terrible. So many injuries.
Yeah. Always bloody banging away on them legs. After the album was released on July the 24th, 1990, they hit the road performing around 300 shows on the first run of their tour, which is, pretty hectic in a van, building up a following with word of mouth. And around this time, they toured supporting Exodus and Suicidal Tendencies in America and Judas Priest in Europe. I think their manager set up the tour with Suicidal Tendencies. And Judas Priest, though, they were doing a show in a town in America. And Rob Halford from Priest, the front man, was there. And they go, "You got to come up and play with us." And they go, and he goes, "What, do you know any Priest songs?" And they're like, "Fucker, do we know any Priest songs?" And then they just went up and played a bunch of Priest songs. He did almost the whole set with them.
That's cool.
Just because he was at their gig.
Yeah, and then he ended up taking them on tour in Europe. Apparently they found it really tough in Europe because no one knew him over there. And, metal crowds can be pretty rough to support acts when they don't know them and stuff. I remember seeing Metallica a few years back, and the support band was this cool rock band from New Zealand called the Datsuns. I don't know if you know them at all.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good name.
And the crowd, the crowd at the front were just booing him. Oh no, towards the back. It was at the Myer Music Bowl, and they were just booing, fingers up in the air the whole time. It's like,
What? Why?
It's so this is
so
real
strange.
tough. And the front man from the Datsuns, I loved it because he says a lot of the abuse was coming up from up on the hill, and he kept going, "Sorry guys, I can't hear you from the cheap seats." It was a real fun little gentle ribbing back. Love that. Exodus are great. That's the band I was talking about before. Who they've had so many lineup changes. I saw them about 10 years ago, and they were still real good. But Suicidal Tendencies is one of my favorite bands. I reckon they wrote out so many different. They kind of followed my taste a bit. They were that Californian punk thrash into the heavier stuff, and they've gone down all these different paths. What a journey they've been on.
What a journey.
I wear a Suicidal Tendencies hoodie sometimes, and I forget that those words mean other things.
Oh, right. The people that might not know the band.
I'll be I wear it in a job interview or something, and people are like, "You okay, mate?"
Why are you wearing a hoodie to a job interview?
I'm a fucking badass.
That was their main. They don't look at the words. They looked at the hood.
I was like, really?
Yeah,
Sir?
look, it was probably a bad example.
Mate,
Your
it's
beanie?
summer. Take it off.
It was the interview was for being the company badass.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah.
you got the job.
Yeah, thank you. Who's ready to get a warm head at any moment?
Yeah, smart.
Yeah. It's a very niche role, but I bloody grabbed it with both hands.
Show them the fucking path.
I'm going to, you keep going. I'm just going to step out real quick.
Why?
No reason.
Oh, well, while you're gone, I'll just tell Dave a funny little anecdote that I have here that
Great.
doesn't really fit in anywhere.
Perfect. Go for it.
She is leaving the
No
studio.
emergencies or anything.
She played it so cool.
She took her headphones off. I thought she was just getting some air for her ears.
Yeah. You know when your ears get real hot?
Oh, yeah.
Dave, you want me to tell you a little anecdote?
Love to hear a little anecdote.
From the road. So
From the road?
From the road.
Your days on the road with
well,
Exodus.
Pantera's days on the road. Sorry,
Forget
mate.
that you're not in the road.
No, I'm not in the road. So the first time they went to Canada, they got to the border, and Daryl was driving, and Phil tells this story. He says the border control guy asked him nationality, and Daryl replied, I guess regular. And they were like, well, that something doesn't quite add up here. So they made him drive to the side, and they did a full search of the
They
thing.
searched the car
And they-
because he said regular.
They found traces of cocaine and weed.
Oh, this guy is off his chops. We got to search the car.
Regular. But yeah, apparently it was only traces, so they ended up they couldn't charge him, so they were allowed to go through. In Moscow, this is, I don't know if you've heard of this. There used to be a big festival circuit called the Monsters of Rock, big outdoor festivals.
Right, so across Europe, is it?
Yeah, across Europe. I think it was through America as well. But this one in particular, they didn't play that many of them, but they played this one that I've seen footage of so many times, and I never really knew what it was about. I always thought it was this. I'd heard it was this huge. It was like bringing rock music to the Soviet Union, but I think I've read that there were gigs prior to this. It was the first big outdoor rock
huge
concert. Yeah,
with multiple acts or
multiple acts, including Pantera. But only at that stage they'd only released Cowboys from Hell, as an official big release. But they were supporting Metallica and AC/DC.
Whoa,
What a
that is
hectic lineup that is.
amazing.
And I read so many varied reports of it, some from the time and some from looking back.
Yeah, of course, people are like, it was so good. Now.
But the numbers, I've seen footage and it looks like you could tell me any number and I'd believe you. But I've seen some say it's around 150,000 from reports at the time. I've also seen reports saying 1.5 million.
What?
How do you vary a number that much?
The people on the door just lost control of the little clicky thing for the counting people. Hang on. Was that 10,000 or was that 100,000?
Man, it's gone back to the start.
Is that
This only goes up to 1,000.
Oh, how many times have I hit 1,000? Was it 1,000 or was it only 100? Oh, well, just write down between 150 and 1.5 million.
The footage is great. There's just so many people, such a cool thing, and it was filmed with a massive film crew. And I always thought it was this cool independent sort of thing, but obviously it wouldn't have been. It must have been so much effort to put it on, and it was backed by I think Time Warner or something like that, and they filmed it and released a documentary about it, like a feature length doco about it.
Just about the whole gig.
Yeah, and there were the footage of the security, like the Soviet security with big truncheons and just like hitting. It was like
Stay back.
a wild show, but how they got onto that at such an early stage is pretty incredible.
And are they getting a good reception or are they getting flipped off and told
No, I
to?
think I think at that point, Russians were like, "How cool is this that we're
Right,
able to
yeah, that
this
they're
music
coming,
that
yeah.
they must have been recently listening to, kind of in private."
Yeah, right. It's probably previously contraband and now they're doing a huge gig. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty great.
And they're friends with both Metallica and Megadeth despite this rivalry.
Well, yeah. Then there's sort of rivalry. There's sort of egos and rivalries in each direction, and I think they sort of get on in different ways. But you hear different people telling different stories. It feels like a very bitchy sort of scene. There's a lot
funny
of
for something that like presents itself as so tough.
yeah. It's
that they're-
often a lot of hurt feelings and
Yeah.
egos being bruised and stuff like that. And we came up with this. You've ripped us off, and it's pretty fascinating. It'd make for a great. It would ruin all the mythos of it, but having like a reality TV show about these guys.
Oh yeah.
Which is basically what Some Kind of Monster was for Metallica. They took no control over the cut or anything, I think, Metallica, and it really showed them to be not really connected to reality that much and kind of making really weird, lame decisions. And they had this therapist come in wearing like real classically sort of dad sweaters, and he was trying to heal them, bring them back together inside Metallica. And then he was getting so comfortable because he was there with them every day. They would show him he would be there at recording sessions, sort of like bopping along. And then there was this one scene where he's written a few words on a thing and he's given it across suggested lyrics.
And he's their therapist. He's not even a music guy at all.
You should see, he's exactly what you picture, like a middle-aged therapist wearing dad sweaters and, glasses, and just so funny. Just like, and I think they fired him soon after. He was getting a bit too comfortable, but
I love that.
Love that.
Welcome
Love
back,
it.
Jess.
Thank you.
How was it?
Fine.
You feeling all right?
Sure.
Feeling better now?
Nah.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry to laugh there, but that was, you could argue, quite insensitive.
Nah, it's fine. I didn't throw up. I'm okay.
You didn't.
No. I want to, but I didn't.
You look good.
Yeah. I feel great.
Good on you.
Thanks, man.
Basically, we've just had a little chat about Metallica.
Great.
While you've been
I
gone.
can't wait to listen back.
So back to Pantera. Critically and commercially, they went from strength to strength from their early 90s Cowboys from Hell release. Their follow-up album was 1992's Vulgar Display of Power, which is the album that my friend Grasby played me at that party.
Oh, right.
And this album is seen by many to be their masterpiece. Though a lot of their albums through the 90s are seen as being great in different ways. And some that aren't seen as that great, I reckon are bloody great. But anyway, I think I love every album they released from Cowboys of Hell onwards. Some say there was a bit of a drop-off at the end, but I think it was... Anyway, doesn't matter. I'll get to that. So Vulgar Display is seen as being their masterpiece. It was their heaviest album to date, and it included the iconic metal track Walk. I don't know if you know that song.
Oh, yeah. It's got that riff, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How's it go? That'd probably be the only song of theirs I really recognise, yeah.
If you look on Spotify, that would be the one with the most plays.
Yep.
It's sort of the one that would be covered. If you go to a metal show and someone wants to pay tribute to probably Vinnie Paul at current metal shows, I bet it's been played around the world.
Yeah.
Because every metal band would know how to play it, pretty much.
Was it like the opening track? Is that how the album starts?
No, the opening track is Mouth for War. It's the third track on there. And This Love, I've just had a look here, track 5. So I've made a bloody fool of myself there. Fucking Hostile's number 4.
Is it called Fucking Hostile or is it Hostile?
No, it's called Fucking Hostile.
Oh, right. I thought you were
Couldn't
like,
tell, yeah.
I thought you were just being pissed off.
I thought you were editorializing there.
It's fucking Hostile.
Yeah.
It's number 4.
Fucking Hostile. So it went super well, sold really well, and this was them jumping up again from the last one. They also, little things like last little bits of that 80s style that they had remaining on Cowboys from Hell. There's a few bits, that operatic sort of high-pitched, I don't know what the musical term for that is. You know that metal style where they sing that high?
Oh, yeah, they're really high. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like
sort of
that
80s,
Priest
yeah.
sort of style. There were still a few moments of that.
Bit of Deep Purple style.
A few moments of that on Cowboys from Hell, but that was all gone by Vulgar Display. And the album eventually went on to become 2 times platinum in the US and platinum in Australia, while also charting in countries like Finland, Austria, and Germany. Pretty high up in their charts as well.
That's crazy.
Do you know? Would you be familiar with the cover art of that album? It's kind of iconic. I can show it to you. Does that
no,
ring
No,
any bells?
that's great. So it's a man being hit in the face with a fist.
Yes.
Like
and
mid-punch.
I didn't realize this. I'd heard the story about it, how it was done, and I realized that there's a bit of controversy of how true that all is. So this is the story behind the art. The story I knew, which I've heard told by band members and stuff, was that the record label paid a man $10 per punch until they got the right shot.
Oh, no.
And
You mean
supposedly it took him about 30 or so punches to get it. So he got paid 300 or so bucks.
To be punched or to punch?
To be punched.
Oh, God.
Yeah, which sounded like a wild story, but I'm like, all right, it's the 90s, I guess. I don't know what rules were like back then. But a record label?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I read recently that was all bullshit. And yeah, but I've heard the band repeat that story. So I don't know if they believe it or if they just enjoyed the legend of
bit
it.
of a
It's a good
myth-making.
legend, yeah.
What a good legend.
What a legend.
Hey, we paid this idiot $300 to punch him in the face 30 times. And the best part is we got the photo on the first go. What a fuckwit.
Ha ha ha.
We're Pantera. Means panther in Spanish.
Yeah, they come off well. But I mean, this is the label, right? They weren't doing this themselves.
Sure.
It just makes the label feel like this major label, Atco. I don't know. I just didn't sound right. But yeah, apparently it is bullshit. And someone tracked down the photographer, Bruce Gucci.
Yes.
Guice.
Get him in a band.
Brad Gooch. He debunked it, saying it was a very rehearsed setup, with the fist moving and pushing the model's face hard to achieve the look, but not at all punched. He used a bunch of tricks, including using strobe lighting, a fan to blow his hair, and playing with shutter speed and angles, camera angles, to get the shot right. Whatever the truth is, it's bloody iconic artwork. I can't believe the photographer, though, in this case.
Interesting.
He may have been there.
Although, I mean, at the same time, him going, yeah, that's right, I photographed a man being beaten, doesn't make him sound all that
look
good
right.
either.
I don't think you can take 30 punches to the face.
No.
Yeah, it feels like your jaw would be broken quickly.
30.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
You kill someone.
But also you'd be like, I mean, if I'm going to get punched in the face once for $10, I'd prefer to walk away with 300.
Sure. And it's the 90s.
And it's the 90s, 300.
lot more
That goes
money.
a long way.
Yeah.
Goes a long way. I mean, you'd get punched. It would cost you probably $30-$40 a punch these days.
Oh,
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah, don't you reckon?
Yeah.
Carry the two. After the success of Vulgar Display, the pressure was on with the follow-up album. According to bass player Rex Rocker, the record company was pushing for something like Metallica's Black Album. We were like, no, that's not going to happen. Instead, they once again made their heaviest album yet. And according to Phil, our top priority with Far Beyond Driven was to make a balls-out heavy metal record with no compromising. This is also the album where Darryl was first billed as Dimebag Darryl, which is the moniker he's still known as to this day.
He was Diamond.
Diamond. So it's not a huge change, but Dimebag means it's some sort of...
Drug term.
Yeah. I think it's a certain amount of marijuana. And you got that for a dime, I guess.
Yeah. Diamond
That
bag.
must have been a long time ago. And a dime is what, 20 cents? Fuck, I mean, these are all very easily Googled things. Ask Jess something about spewing and I'll look up what dime means.
I'm finding it hard to turn my head to look at you. It's
Really?
making me really dizzy.
Oh, God. What happens when you look at me?
Because you're straight ahead for me, so that's okay.
Yeah.
So, Matt, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just trying not to throw up.
Go towards the light.
No.
Me.
No.
Yeah, there's a dime bag. A nickel bag is another. Let me get a nickel bag.
A dime is 10 cents. 10 cents in the US of A. And a dime bag, according to dictionary.com, is a specified amount of an illegal drug, packaged and sold for a fixed price. So according to that, I guess it doesn't necessarily mean it was worth a dime. That does sound cheap.
Maybe it started out
That would make sense.
That would
I'd
be a
believe
really
that.
small
a long
amount.
time ago.
1 blade of grass, please. That's how they do it, right? It's blades of grass.
Yeah.
I understand it.
You
Drugs.
get it.
I get drugs, guys.
420, blaze it.
Yeah, blazing.
Oh, blaze that one blade of grass.
All right.
So the no compromising attitude that Phil was talking about on the album didn't quite extend to the artwork. According to Vinnie Paul, the original artwork idea was metal up your ass. And the artwork depicted someone literally copying metal up their ass in the form of a big drill bit. So it feels like it's sort of somehow, I mean, this is a few years on from high school now. Now they're in their mid-20s. Maybe even moving towards their late 20s.
Still funny.
I will not compromise.
We will not compromise on this. But even though the label agreed initially, they came back 3 days later and said, we can't get this into Walmart, Target, and retail, and it's going to kill us. So they compromised.
We found a guy and said, we'll give you $10 for each drill we put up your ass. And it took 30 drills.
But we got the shot.
We got the shot. But Walmart don't like it. So we've had to take the money off the guy. We told him if we don't use any of it,
Yeah,
you don't get paid
you
for the
don't get
drill.
paid. But he was confident we'd use it
Yeah.
because it's beautiful. But
He's got a beautiful butt.
Target and Walmart, not a fan.
They don't like drills.
Yeah.
I thought about a metal ruler.
Yeah. But Bunnings, they were willing to take the stock instead. And maybe an American equivalent of Bunnings.
Some sort of hardware store.
Yeah. Something Tim Allen was associated with.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jess. Tim Allen, I assume that sound meant that you weren't quite
No,
sure
it
of what I
was
was saying?
Me needing to throw
So-
up.
It was funny timing because I was talking about this guy, Tim Allen, right?
Yeah.
And he was
He was huge.
It was huge. He was a real tool man.
Oh,
No, it was more like, oh?
I can't.
Jess can't make that noise. She might vomit.
I might vomit.
Oh.
Not good.
Sorry, Bob.
I know. I'm sorry.
We're all sorry. I'm sorry you're feeling that way. I know it's the fucking worst.
It's not good.
We're beyond halfway. We're far beyond halfway. This album's called Far Beyond Driven, so a little play on words there.
Nice.
But so they said we wouldn't be able to get into the big retailers. We need to compromise, and they did. They compromised. The artwork instead depicts a drill going to someone's head.
Better.
All right, mate, we've shoved 30 drills up your ass. Got some bad news. It's going to have to be your head. We're going to have to drill into your head. $30 a pop. Is it?
$30. That's all right.
It's super stylized. I think it's an artist's impression of it, I'm pretty sure. It's a blue cover and the drill's going straight into the forehead. But it looks sort of like it's a pretty cool looking cover, but yeah, it is.
And Walmart were cool with that?
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. I wonder how they would feel about it now. But despite all this, the album was released and debuted at #1 on the mainstream American charts.
That's awesome.
#1. First ever extreme metal album to get to #1.
That's
And
huge.
I think arguably still the heaviest album ever to make it to #1. I don't know if that's even super disputed. It also made #1 in Australia, debuted #1 in Australia as well. I think Australia is obviously per capita is one of their biggest sort of support bases. And it made to #2 in New Zealand.
Wow.
It was a monster hit and is arguably still the heaviest album ever to chart in Australia and America. Can you
Chart.
think?
Surely not chart, but #1.
Sorry, #1. Yeah, can you think of anything else to get that high? Like, it seems bizarre to have an album that heavy up that high.
Right. Well, all of Metallica's go to #1, but they
Yes.
are heavier than Metallica's.
They are. Yeah, this album certainly is. They did get pretty heavy at times, Metallica, but yeah, never as heavy as this one. Not that there's way heavier music than this album, but
Yeah, to be #1 on the legit chart, not even the rock chart.
It was-
yeah.
yes, it was also an interesting time for metal because it kind of was. By this stage, Metallica they'd sort of basically dropped metal. They were playing with sort of alternative rock stuff
Is this
and
when
sort
they
of country
cut their
twinge
hair
stuff.
off and everyone
cut their
freaked
hair,
out?
yeah, load and reload years.
Some people said that they would boycott the band because they cut their hair off.
Okay, that makes sense.
Metal people are weird.
Yeah,
They're just intense.
I know. They like it a certain way, and if you don't do it, they
Yeah.
flip the finger off and boo you.
Yeah, it's interesting.
but it was sort of grunge was the big thing at the time.
Sure,
so
of
there
course, yeah.
which was kind of a big backlash against that 80s hair metal scene where it was all money and California sort of bright colors and that sort of stuff. So they ended up being like, if you saw what they wore in those days, it was a very grungy looking aesthetic. Pantera sort of had. The album also garnered the band's first Grammy Award nomination for Best Metal Performance for the song
Wow.
I'm Broken.
That's cool.
And they lost it to Soundgarden for their song Spoon Man, which is a great song. But
Spoon Man!
it's a cool song, right?
is a
But
cool-
it's not a metal song. So it's,
No, I think often in that category it is just rock bands.
yeah, it's a confusing category, I think. But it's also, like we talked about way back, did we do an Academy Award?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in that, did we talk about Grammys? It's a similar sort of idea. The Academy Award episode, you talked about how it's mainly middle-aged to old
White
men. So if it's similar for the Grammys, which I'm not sure, but I'm kind of assuming it is, then often it does seem to favor older bands, and bands get best album awards when it was probably really being awarded for their album from a few years ago.
Yeah, from their it's like, well, you two are a great band. They've had a lot of success, so let's give them the Grammy for best.
Yeah,
album.
because we know them, there's some sort of a lag going on or something.
Yeah,
it's like Beck won for best
Beck
album
won. One of
so
these
many
albums-
years after, and
So many years after people stopped caring about Beck.
I think it's a really nice album, but it was kind of like very similar to Sea Change from 10 years
And
earlier.
that was his big one, yeah.
Sea Change, and like he had this whole period of quite influential albums, but they didn't win anything. It was it's
But I think that Sea Change was nominated though.
oh, was it right? Well, there you go. They were nominated 3 more times for that same award, but they never took it out.
Always listening to Soundgarden. Spoonman won 4 years in a row. Amazing. Spoonman re-release.
There were like that. So, looking through the list, there were a lot of songs that were out from different years. Sometimes it was a live version of a song from years before, and yeah, it seems like a weird category. Cracks were starting to appear in the band, so they really reached the peak, and this is where things started to slowly fall apart. Phil started to become more distant from the band as he started self-medicating for chronic back pain. He was abusing drugs like heroin.
Told you he was a bad drummer. He hit himself in the back. That's hard to do.
How?
Phil's the singer. I'm not going to tell you again.
Oh, well, they all have the same fucking boring name.
Vinnie Paul and Phil. Good luck, mate.
Mate, the only one I can remember.
Good luck telling that to a jury.
Only one I can remember is Rex Brown.
Rex Brown. Yeah, I don't. It's funny. He's sort of.
Is he the bass player? Because he
He's the
seems
bass player.
reliable.
Yeah,
He sounds reliable.
he's sort of the. He doesn't play the two major warring parties kind of in the band are the brothers who get along great. Some have said that they were never seen to argue or anything with each other. And Phil on the other side, that was sort of the big two parts. Rex was kind of caught in the middle a little bit.
Right. So it's Phil who's got a bad back and he's on heroin.
Yes. The first time the rest of the band were aware of this apparently was on July 13th, 1996, when Phil OD'd, and apparently his heart stopped beating for about 5 minutes.
Oh, that's too many minutes.
Yeah. He was saved by paramedics, and he woke up in hospital the next day. It really does seem to have affected him. He looks different.
What, before and after that incident?
I don't know about that incident, but like in recent years, obviously people look different, but his face seems different. Like it feels like drugs have affected him badly. And this is my very medical opinion, not based on, obviously, because I forget to say it, but my full name is Matt Stewart, MD.
You're humble about it.
Yeah, well, the MD stands for mega dick. Mega dickhead. According to Vinnie Paul, that's when the band and him started separating, and he started demanding his own tour bus. We'd see him before the show, and then he'd be gone. And you never knew which Phil you were going to get. You might get the pit bull that we all knew and loved, or you might get some dude who was completely whacked out on heroin.
Like the Pitbull was the good him.
Yeah,
That's not a good sign.
No.
Where's the Pitbull?
We want the pit bull.
That's
Mr. Worldwide. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, it is.
I'm just going to go to the bathroom again.
Okay, great. I'm just going to breeze through the next couple of albums. Right. Okay, great. Just popping out briefly. I can't help but take this personally.
I know.
Dave, do you think she hates Pantera that much?
I think she just hates music,
Yeah.
life.
Right. I haven't even gone into why Phil's a bit of a fuckhead yet.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're about to. He's showing himself to be a fuckhead.
Yeah.
He's a Pitbull on his good days.
But I think he would still, because I think with bands, the vocalist, the lyricist, they are sort of the direct line into the fans. So I think fans will usually instinctively connect most with the singer. So I think that probably has happened a lot with them as well. But in this case, it's a bit of like a Van Halen. So they're a big influence of Van Halen, or Van Halen were a big influence of them. And it's a similar sort of idea, I guess. Like there was the David Lee Roth was the front man and that, but the heart and soul of the band of Van Halen's probably Eddie Van Halen.
Van Halen, right?
And,
yeah.
and his brother on drums.
So do you feel that that's the same way with Pantera? People always think of it as the brothers band?
Well, I don't think so. I think it probably is divided, and things
And
that
that
have happened in recent times. But I reckon back then, maybe I think people do think, Phil, he's the one at the front.
Right, but that would probably piss the brothers off because they started it all, and it's like their thing.
There'd be an element of that, I suppose, and also him and people going, he was the one who changed the direction of the band and stuff.
Yeah, right.
That
Sounds like
obviously
they all
annoyed
wanna
him
be
a little
like,
bit.
No.
But I think it sounds like that isn't really what brought up tensions. What brought up tensions was that Phil would go away. He was starting to abuse drugs and was distanced from him. At least this is how they tell it. From his side, he says, they didn't communicate with him very well. He was always there.
Right.
If they could just call him and talk to him, but I don't know. If he's asking for a different tour bus and those sort of things.
Do you reckon he's still putting on a good show? Like he's being professional once the gig starts?
I'm going to talk about it soon, including a show that I was at. But I think it definitely was affecting, and that's what Vinny was talking about there. They didn't know which one they were going to get. That was on stage as well.
Oh, right.
So some
I thought
shows
you
he'd
meant
kill
like
it. He was the
yeah.
pit bull. I think that's what he means. He'd be, he'd be on stage and he'd be right in it. And then other days he'd be sort
Off his head.
of whacked out. That's in Vinnie Paul's words. I don't wanna-
And he is quite a poet.
He is. Vinnie Paul, rest in peace. I've been watching a lot of Vinnie Paul videos lately. He's a very likable character and in an interview or something like that. Bloody hell. So the band forged on, despite these troubles were coming up. They kept working together, and they released The Great Southern Trendkill in 1996, which is probably my favourite album of theirs, I reckon. And then Reinventing the Steel in 2000. Both albums charted number 2 in Australia and number 4 in America. So they're still selling.
This is an era where CDs actually sell very well.
Exactly. So being charting high actually means something still working.
So number 4 now then would sell more than number 1 now.
Yes. So I reckon that would definitely be true. But despite this, the band was starting to fall apart. Phil was spending more and more time away with his other bands, which he'd formed through the years.
Okay. And
he wasn't forming all now. Down and Supergiant Ritual are probably the two biggest ones. Down in particular, I don't know if you know much about them. None of them have gone on to be as big as Pantera, but they are big bands. I saw Down supporting Ronnie James Dio. Do you know Dio?
Yeah, what's his big band?
He came in after Ozzy.
The Black Sabbath guys.
Black Sabbath, yeah. So I saw a Dio fronted Black Sabbath and Down supported them. It must have been 10 years ago or something as well. Now, back when I was a bloody young buck going out.
Is he dead too?
Dio is, yeah. He must have started a couple of years ago now. He's very revered in the metal world.
Yeah, cool.
Which is interesting because it doesn't always go that way if you're replacing a legend, that's hard.
Yeah, that is cool that he gets credit anyway.
It doesn't often happen where it comes off and you're still really loved. I think it happened, obviously it happened with AC/DC pretty famously. That went pretty well.
Yeah, they've gone on to, their next album was the biggest selling band album of all time.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Back in Black.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like when that happens. People are able to move on. I think that it's easier for that to happen if the singer dies, maybe, because they're there's no sort of bitterness that you shouldn't have forced them out of the band.
Yeah, no one's blaming anyone.
Yeah, whereas I think Van Halen, Sammy Hagar found it a bit harder maybe coming in after David Lee Roth. Although Sammy Hagar had some massive hits, but people still would say that his era wasn't so good. So we're somehow got onto Van Halen now, Bob.
Jess is back?
Very professional.
How did it go?
Oh, I definitely spewed that time.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, I'm so glad you can confirm it.
Yeah.
This I hadn't thought about this, but what I'm about to talk about is so relevant to Jess spewing, or at least spewing.
Is it potentially triggering for someone who's going to vomit?
No, when after you spew and you've got a good half hour.
Yeah.
You feel good?
Yeah.
You feel $1 million for half an hour.
It was almost like whatever that was the sole problem in that.
And every time you're like, I'm done now.
Oh. But then it starts building again. And
you're
like,
I'm done now. Thank you.
So my
That'll
point
be all
is,
now. Thank you.
We've got a really good half hour and I'm feeling fine. I am so sorry to you, to the listener.
Would you believe this is probably, I reckon this would be the most amount of time I've spent on a report since, I don't know, for a long time, just because I've been really enjoying it.
Of course.
But I would have spent like almost a full-time, 9 to 5 week.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. Good on you.
And
this could be the best podcast report ever on Pantera.
And it's great.
But no, I love that you've been coming in and out of it. I think normally we would probably go, let's pause now. But for some reason, we're just like, oh, let Jess come in and out. She's
Yeah. I think that's for the best.
But Matt's gone into so much detail that like you've only missed a little bit. So it's all good.
Yeah.
I have been going off script. When
We
you've
talked
been
about
not-
Van Halen.
All good. I'm not all good.
We're just talking about how they've released a couple more albums after their big number one album in 96 and 2000. And they were still selling really well, but the band are fracturing quite a bit now.
And Phil's got a couple of his own bands on the side.
Yeah, he's
Phil.
off a fair bit, and he actually even recorded the vocals from another state. So
wow.
so that they're really.
Does he
having some
write
issues.
like his lyrics?
Yeah.
But does he write like the melody and stuff, or like do they just send him the guitar and he just makes it up?
I think it depends. I think it sounds like for the most part the songs come out of the Dimebag's riffs, the guitar parts. But sometimes some of their big songs came out of the drum of something Vinnie Paul put together on drums, and then they'd bass some of their songs like have really iconic drum parts.
Yeah, that's cool.
Primal Concrete Sledge and 13 Steps and stuff, and so the songs get built around the drums.
Primal Concrete Sledge.
Yes.
That is like, all right, well, I'll think of a tough word.
Yeah.
Primal Concrete Sledge.
I
All
feel
right.
like of the three of us, Matt would come up with sledge because it would be like, Dash,
Sledge.
sledge. We go, really? Do you want to go with that? You're like, yeah.
We get a whiteboard out and someone's going, okay, yeah, sure, Matt, I
Cool.
guess you're involved, so
What else? Yeah.
let's park Sledge
Yeah.
for now. So they're splintering, but they're still recording, they're still touring, but
But
he's
just in
off more and
different
more.
states.
Yeah,
He's
that's
moving away, and
I'd love for us to do that, to be honest.
Podcast from different states.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like a lot of Australian breakfast radio teams do.
yes, yeah, they'll.
How do they do it without the eye contact, I wonder?
Yeah, I find that
Hard.
Or is it
Skype.
monitors?
Yeah.
They can see each other.
Right.
It's still kind of hard to it's subtle,
you
non-verbal
don't wanna be the-
communication is impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, I just exactly talked over you when we were in the same room there. So imagine if you weren't in the same room.
You could see and hear me speaking. Yeah.
Didn't hear a word.
Yeah.
That's why for like phoner interviews it can be so hard when you're like you're jumping on
Yeah.
top of each other, especially if people you're not used to talking to.
Well, my Triple J segment that I do with Jen and Lewis or Veronica and Lewis is either, it's always, I'm in a TARDIS by myself or a studio alone and they're in Sydney. And so it's a lot of,
And you can't see them.
yeah.
Ha.
Oh? Or a lot of not sure if you're supposed to talk here. So there's a couple of awkward pauses and I'm like, my turn.
Do you say that? Da, my turn.
My turn now.
Jess speak.
Bzz, Jess.
Yeah, we've got a system we've figured
Yeah,
out.
it
A few
works.
verbal cues like Jess speak.
Jess speak now.
The listeners don't even notice.
No, they wouldn't even pick it
I
up.
don't get the radio talk of like just speak.
Yeah, they just don't hear it. They just don't know. It's like, oh, they just have such great chemistry. It's like a dog whistling. So
Yep, that's what it's like.
Yep.
Jess doing radio is like watching a dog whistle.
imagine a dog trying to whistle. No wonder no one can hear it apart from dogs. So when they were touring these albums,
They also tour in different states.
yeah,
Yeah, they tour separately.
The guitarist will be here next week. Just imagine this over that.
yes, yeah, you've got to piece it together in your mind. Like, all right, and your mind's still just doing the drum.
Yeah.
Oh, he nailed the vocals of this bit last week.
But yeah, so they, in some ways, they were playing in different spaces.
Yeah.
Because Phil, like they said, they didn't know if they were getting the pit bull or they were getting the whacked out.
The Chihuahua.
The Chihuahua, yeah. with Phil being off his chops, one infamous live show was on May the 17th, 2001 at Melbourne's Festival Hall.
Oh.
I was there.
No way.
And they were so delayed getting on stage. I remember but we had it's like such a funny memory for me because we were drinking bourbon and Coke cans beforehand. It was like such weird teen cliched behavior. Probably Woodstocks. Yep.
Oh, God. Did anyone else buy them?
They were still around 40 years later when Dave and I were young and drinking. Yeah.
40 years?
Yeah.
Is that the only age difference we have?
Yeah.
40 years after...
Drinking wise, yes.
Right. Yeah.
40 years after the Woodstock that you were at.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Woodstocks I drank were, made at the festival.
They were the original. Hendrix canned this drink.
And I had my, while we were drinking those before the show, one of my friends shaved lines into my beard. So I looked, which Vinnie Paul sort of had this iconic beard. Right until he died, there's shaved lines into his beard. So I got them shaved in.
Please tell me you have a photo.
When he passed away, I was trying to find it. It's got to be somewhere.
And if you don't,
pre-internet, not pre-internet, but pre-Facebook, so there's not an easy.
If you
record.
don't, we will demand you to reenact it.
I was genuinely considering it. I think I'd do it. Maybe I'll do it.
Yeah.
Again now. I've definitely got a better beard now than I did when I was a teenager.
Interesting.
Yep.
I can't believe you had a beard as a teenager. That is so infuriating.
Dave can't get a beard now.
I can't. I'm 27 years old.
I know, mate. I know.
Yeah, Jess, you feel my pain.
Yeah, I can't get a beard. I'm trying.
But so we were drinking these cans. We'd had quite a bit to drink, and the smoking was legal indoors back then.
Unbelievable.
So this is in 2001, and the place was so smoky, and the band they were just. I don't know how long exactly, but it felt like so long delayed for them to be on stage after the support acts finished.
Do they have cool supports? Do you remember them?
The support acts were cool. It was a cool Melbourne metal band who I'd seen a bunch of times
Taxi
around.
Ride.
Taxi Ride, that's it.
Get set, everybody. We're on our way, on our way.
Imagine if they played that Metallica gig where they were flipping a rock band like the Datsuns off.
Too late, everybody.
Imagine the reaction from it would have been amazing.
I loved that song.
It's a great song.
Taxi Ride's
Beautiful
sick.
harmonies.
Yes, I love harmonies.
And they love those at metal shows. They love harmony.
I can't
love
put my
that
finger
we
on
went
who
into
it
that
is.
at the same time. That was beautiful. See, I'm good now.
Oh, you've got,
For a
this
bit.
half an hour is so good.
Yeah, enjoy it.
It's the golden half hour.
I'm going to crash again. See how I've also turned my body so I'm now facing
Yeah,
you.
you can look at me.
I
You
don't
can
have to-
stomach my face now.
I don't have to move my head, which was making me real dizzy.
Oh, boy.
I don't know how I'm going to get home. Anyway, let's get on with the
But
report.
all those symptoms you were feeling, I was feeling as time went on. So we're all standing in the middle of Festival Hall. Also, the venue where the Beatles played when they came to Melbourne a few decades earlier.
Imagine that, having seen the Beatles.
It just blows my mind.
Incredible. That would be amazing.
Apparently, it was hard to
hear.
hard to
Yeah.
concentrate because, which would have been so frustrating if you were there to hear the band, which I
Yeah.
imagine some people would have been.
Yeah, I would hope.
It's such a weird idea to
Sound
just
engineer can't hear anything. It's trying to turn everything up
yeah.
to full.
Like, at least it's even that way, you know?
Everything louder than everything else.
So so I'm standing in the middle of the crowd, and it's so smoky and foggy. I'd had a few of these cans, and I was starting to feel sick because I was just standing there waiting, sort of just starting to sway. And I felt like 45 minutes or an hour they were late.
Fuck.
I'm like, I got to go spew. So I went to the bathroom, and in there you could not see from the door to the other wall. It was just full of smoke.
Oh, my God.
Some sort of illegal smoke, if you know what I mean.
Fireworks?
Fireworks.
Someone was setting off fireworks in the John?
bathroom?
Which just made me feel dizzy. And I'm so I go down and I'm spewing into one of these toilets. And then I hear the
No.
So as they come on stage, I'm spewing in the toilet, which is a bit unfortunate. I go out anyway. They open with Hellbound, which was the opening track of their latest album at the time.
Yeah.
And it was sick. It was a good show. And I was, being young, I didn't have high standards for what a good show would be. But I did remember a few things throughout the show. Like, I just vividly remember Dimebag hugging his guitar and just leaning back on his amp while Phil just talks and talks off his dial.
Like in between songs.
In
just
between
talking.
songs, just really long, hard to follow diatribes.
Oh, like he's preaching.
Yeah. He had
he's
things to
off
say.
his shit,
Just
yeah.
off his dial.
And if that sucks because rock stars get such a free ride. Like you make anything vaguely funny,
yeah.
the crowd just goes,
But
I
it
love
was,
these people.
Easy audience.
So it's such an easy crowd. So if he's losing them,
yeah.
he must be speaking some real shit.
It was just like, what? Just, yeah. It was strange. But obviously, I didn't realize at the time, but he was affected by different things. He said later he was super drunk. He said it was the drunkest I've been in 2 years. And later on, shit happened that I don't even remember as I blacked out. So he was off his dial. But that did become, like, that was talked about a lot, that show. It was one of the low points of the band and the relationship. Afterwards, the band were furious at him, like, what the fuck are you doing? You got to clean up your act and that sort of stuff. And I've spoke to people who were at the next night in Adelaide, and apparently he was apologising to the crowd for the night before, saying, I'm really sorry, obviously.
That's how he was so drunk he thought he was still in Melbourne.
And apparently knocked it out of the park. The next show was amazing, which is, unfortunate for me. This is a quote. He was talking to a journalist soon after. He said, the whole band was fucking furious and I realised what I had to do. So I cleaned my shit up and the next night we went out and destroyed. I apologise to the fans for that show, but they will see us again. And Melbourne did not see them again.
Oh, wow.
That was the last show they ever played in Melbourne, unfortunately.
Oh, well, at least you got to see your heroes.
Yeah, so that was cool. I feel very lucky because I got into him a year earlier. So I was so lucky with
Just
the
made
timing.
it, yeah.
Similar thing happened to me with Tism as well. I got into them in their last four or so years.
And you saw him?
When they were, I saw them I think I saw them about half a dozen times.
That's really cool.
So, very lucky in both those cases. The Beatles, not so much.
Not so much.
Damn it.
I was bloody on. I was in a big heroin, the 60s, mate. If you remember them, you weren't on heroin.
You were in
as I always say.
You were in a big heroin.
I was in a big heroin. Sorry to talk lingo with you guys. Me and Ringo used to talk such
We
lingo.
get a dime bag of big heroin.
I'm not afraid of big heroin. So, you probably already don't love Phil as a guy, and there'd be people who could probably do a report who would tell the story from the other side. It's almost like people would pick one side or
And
the other.
here's that report.
No, here's some stuff that's going to make you dislike him even more. So, as well as the internal tension of the bands, other controversies from these years include the band's use of the Confederate flag, both in album art and in stage art.
Okay, that's not really great.
Yeah, so it's now synonymous with racism, obviously. It's and I'm no expert on this at all. I've just pulled this out of an interview, and this is Rex Rocker replying to that. And I think he talks about it in a pretty level-headed way. He says, the Confederate flag is on the back cover of the Great Southern Trendkill. That was the southern part of it. There were still states that had that on their flags at that stage. Nowadays, it's forbidden to use it. It's not so politically correct, but it had nothing to do with racism. None of us were like that. It was just a tie-in to the artwork on the back cover. Even back then, I said, this is not the way to go. Lynyrd Skynyrd used one for years and still do. Now people confuse it with racism and hatred. That's not what this band is about at all. Quite the opposite. But it's the only thing I would say in the PC days now that I have any regrets about those old days. So
That's a pretty good explanation.
it feels pretty level, and he's just like, obviously it wouldn't do it now, and it was even
Sure.
but it was a different time, which is always a bit of a soft excuse, but also
Quite
times
valid.
Sadly,
Yeah.
valid in some ways. Yeah.
sometimes it is. But this next bit, this is a feel. It's like made me feel. Yeah.
So
anyway.
Rex made a good explanation, but Phil.
Phil's sort of been on the side. He's he just seems like a weird unit, Phil. And then he'll do things where you're like, what the fuck? And it's like, are you giving us a little insight into yourself? Because this is like no one would say this. Well, no one in the, anyway, look. So he's come up of accusations of racism outside of the flag in January 2016. So
Very racist.
very recently. Anselmo stood before an audience in Hollywood at a benefit concert, and as he finished his set, he stretched out his right arm in a Nazi salute and bellowed "White Power" at the crowd.
Okay, well, you can't really explain that one.
Yeah, I don't know how you can
That's
get away
just
with
fucked.
that one.
His explanation of this was quite bizarre.
It doesn't sound like Phil.
At a benefit gig.
At first, according to Rolling Stone, Anselmo's initial reaction to the uproar was to make light of it, saying white power was an inside joke because he'd been drinking white wine backstage. No apologies from me, he said at the time.
Incredible.
It was a white wine joke. We were all drinking white wine, so I did a Nazi salute.
And yelled white power. Lol.
It's like, I don't like...
Incredible.
I mean, it would have been bad enough if he yelled white wine power. That's still a terrible joke.
Yeah.
But just to yell white power, Phil.
Like, I mean, if you,
do you
if
think
you
we
are...
understand that?
Yeah, that's right. He said, no, it was an in-joke backstage and stuff.
Then don't do it.
But that changed within a couple of days. And this was his updated quote. He did a video. He said, "It was ugly. It was uncalled for. And anyone who knows me and my true nature knows that I don't believe in any of that. I'm 1,000% apologetic." Obviously bad maths straight up there. "I'm 1,000% apologetic to anyone that took offense to what I said," which is always like a weaselly.
Yeah.
It's not I apologize for the thing I did. It's I apologize
If you took offense.
to anyone who took offense. Yeah.
Your fault.
Because you said, sorry, I should finish the fucking sentence. Because you should have taken offense to what I said.
Right.
Fair enough. Sorry, Phil. Sorry, Phil, to have a go at you in the middle of your white power apology. And I'm so sorry, and I hope you just, man, give me another chance just give me another chance. He also released a statement a few days later which said, "I'm repulsed by my own actions, and the self-loathing I'm going through right now is justified by the hurt I've caused." So you're sort of like going, I mean, I'm confused by you. What, like, if you are so apologetic, how were you so dumb in that moment to think it was anything like what? I'm so confused by it. Anyway, he has also said, like, he's talked about it in different ways. Every time it seems to be a slightly different explanation or whatever. He's also said that it was a weird attempt in dealing with hecklers, saying that it was a dumb move on my part because I've dealt with hecklers before. Basically, I was showing the ugly. I was playing a part. It was an ugly gesture. And I've said this before. Look, if that joke is not funny anymore and it's worn out its welcome, then then so be it. I can grow as well.
Is he still talking about white wine?
I think he's just, I don't know.
And is he still a drug addict? Is he still a bit off, you know?
Off his
He seemed
Rex
like
rocker.
Yeah.
his Rex rocker.
That's good. I would prefer if
I
he
caught
said-
that on delay.
If it said off his Rex Brown. Guys, I'm just off him a Rex Brown tonight.
Oh no.
Oh no. You got to get that
Phil.
checked out.
So, you hear him talk. I mean, is it the backlash that's making you, sometimes you're like, why are you really apologizing? Is it because I just don't understand why you would say it in the first place if...
Did you know about this at the time, or have you only...
Nah.
You've only researched this?
Yeah. According to a Garden article, Machine Head frontman, Machine Head's a great band who are in that, they sort of come into that same groove metal. So I never really explained that, but the groove metal style that they started with Cowboys from Hell is just a slower tempo, sort of using some of the aggression of that of the newer thrasher metal, but thrash is quite a fast-paced style, so they bring it down to that. Like the Walk is sort of a classic dun 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 dun, whereas thrash would be dun 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 dun
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Great example.
That was well explained.
It really was. I sound like I'm being sarcastic, but genuinely, that was very well explained and I understood.
So Machine Head was...
I got ska and scat mixed up. Doobity bop bop bop. It's all the same to me.
You're doing the Full House theme again. Skip it about bad out. I never realised that's a scat song.
Yeah.
Or ska song, sorry.
I can't.
In your mind.
I don't know.
So Machine Head, so the metal community came down hard, obviously, on him. Like, what the, in particular, Machine Head frontman Rob Flynn was one of the strongest critics. He released an 11-minute video taking him down. He also pointed out Anselmo's initial explanation was misleading since white wine was not served to performers. So it was just like a weird even...
How did he know that?
He was on the lineup.
Oh, right. He was on the lineup.
Yeah. So he was there. So he's going... and then he went on to say... Flynn went on to say, only in the metal community is something like this so brushed off. He said, if this was Chad from Nickelback, if this was Justin Bieber, or if this was Tom Brady, if this was Lars fucking Ulrich, heads would roll. Ulrich.
Wow.
So yeah, anyway, real strange. Strange is not quite right. Real fucked. So anyway, put that to one side. If you can, we're getting to it. Like they're falling apart now. Anyway, the band's fracturing. They're basically breaking up at this point. And according to Vinnie Paul, we kept working, and really our intention wasn't to stop until Phil decided he'd rather go and do Down and Superjoint Ritual, which were two of his other main bands. We never stopped. I really felt like we were going to be the Rolling Stones of heavy metal, and we could have been. That's what I'm just saying. But it wasn't.
It wasn't for Phil.
It wasn't for Phil. Yeah. It wasn't to be. Vinnie Paul and Dimebag got sick of waiting around for Phil. They were sort of, for them, Pantera was the main. They didn't really do side projects like he did, so they were waiting around. He said, I was always sitting there ready to make another album or tour. They just had to call me. But, there was a real big breakdown in communication, and it went public. Like, they were spatting in interviews against each other and that sort of stuff as well. And they got bored of, sick of waiting for him. They basically decided that he was never coming back. And I don't think it was ever official, but the band basically broke up in 2003 when Vinny and Dime formed a new group called Damage Plan with vocalist Pat Lockman, who was the guitarist for Judas Priest singer Rob Halford's band Halford. They released their debut album, Newfound Power, in 2004, all the while the arguing between Pantera members continued on. Mudslinging in the press went both ways. From Phil's side, in one interview, he said that he was always there, ready to go, basically blaming the brothers for the breakup. But he also said, and this is quite a famous line that people take out, and reading it in context, it doesn't sound as bad as this, but out of context, it sounds pretty bad. It's either way. But he said that Dimebag deserves to be beaten severely.
Phew.
Which is...
Bit aggressive.
I mean...
Would he get paid per punch? Because he might say yes.
Yeah, you never know.
It's
$10 a punch.
I can't think of how much I'd charge per punch, to be honest.
For me, it'd be quite a lot of money.
Yeah,
I think.
I reckon.
It would probably depend on the person doing the punching.
I think 10 grand and I'd cap it at 1.
Yeah.
There's no amount of money I'd take for 30 punches to the face.
I reckon if you could punch me in the face, give me 10 grand for it, and somehow strategically knock out my wisdom teeth at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
That would solve a lot of problems.
That's a win-win
that I
for you.
have. Yeah.
If anyone can do that, please get in contact.
Yeah, I'm happy to have my wisdom teeth punched out and you give me 10 grand.
Good deal.
I'm fine with that.
So Damage Plan went out on the road in support of this album.
And was the album popular?
The album was, it was popular enough, but nowhere near. Like, I think it made top 40, charted in the top 40.
Cool. Right.
So it sold albums, but nowhere near as much as in the Pantera days. And it was a bit. The reviews were a bit mixed from critics. I bought it at the time. I really liked it. But I don't know. Something about the lyrics did feel a bit like it did feel like slightly lamer or something. I remember this one song was called "Fuck You" or something. It goes, "Fuck you." And it went through all these reasons. Fuck you for this. Fuck you for that. And then it goes. But most of all, motherfucker, fuck you. It's sort of like something about it just feels real childish again.
Yeah.
So back to high school style lyrics. But the first album, and you got to give a band a chance to grow.
Yeah, I mean, the first band took 4 albums before
Yeah,
they
exactly.
made anything.
So I'm like, to me, it was a very promising debut, and the guitar parts and stuff, and it was, it was because you got the guitarist and the drummer from Pantera. There was a big chunk of the sound was.
And are people just going to the gigs because they want to see Dimebag and Vinny from Pantera?
I think so. Yeah, I think that definitely would have been a big part. Unfortunately, they never made it out to Australia. about 32 shows in, Damageplan landed at the Alrosa Villa Club in Columbus, Ohio on December the 8th, 2004. But this show would end in tragedy. Former US Marine Nathan Gale tried to board the Damageplan tour bus before the show. He wasn't able to get in, but he was heavily armed and he got into the venue and he got onto the stage around the start of their performance, stormed the stage, and he gunned down Dimebag at point-blank range. In the rampage, Gale also shot and killed Damageplan's head of security, Jeffrey Thompson, and venue staff member Erin Hulk.
Oh, my God. I didn't know that.
Yeah. According to this article I was reading on ultimateclassicrock.com, those last two, Thompson and Hulk, both of whom struggled with Gale long enough for other musicians and countless innocent concert goers to escape.
Wow.
But
So they tried to tackle him. Basically.
They tackled him, but yeah, he
shot him.
He shot him in the amongst all that. Also killed was Nathan Bray, who was a fan who heroically attempted to give Dimebag CPR and paid an awful price as a result. That's
Oh my
the
God.
quote from the...
Shot whilst giving CPR.
Yeah. Gale's shooting spree came to an end when a police officer killed Gale with a single shotgun blast while the assailant still held another man hostage. So that's all from that same article.
Far out.
It's unknown what the motives were. Some say he was a crazed fan who was shouting, "You broke up Pantera." So it was like a like he was taking his that out on Pantera. Obviously, wasn't going well. He wasn't a well man. But logically, it's like killing the guitarist is not going to help bring Pantera back. It's going to
It makes it much harder. To be honest.
I was like, because that's what I heard at the time. I'm like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
You've done the opposite of that.
Yeah, no, they can never get back together.
But obviously, he wasn't.
No,
he
he's
wasn't
not well.
thinking logically. And I think I read his mum had said that he might have even believed that they'd stolen his identity. He was the real songwriter or something like that. But
Right.
it's never been. No one knows for sure what the reason was. And obviously, he died there. So he wasn't able to be asked.
Wow.
I remember where I was sitting in my car with my friend Sarah at the beach when a friend texted me about it, and I reckon it's the only time I ever cried hearing about a stranger dying.
Right, so you got texted, and what? And the text just did it say he'd been shot, or just
Yeah,
that he was
yeah,
dead?
yeah. I think it was just that he died at a concert, and the info was sketchy at first. And I because his trademark was he had a dyed pink beard, so I had my beard dyed pink that week, and so I was working at a supermarket at the time, and they did not like that.
And you said it's for fucking
I'm like,
Dimebag.
it's for Dimebag. It was funny how many people knew what it was about, but the supermarket made me tie it up in that.
Like that makes a
Like a
huge
knot.
difference to the
Yeah.
colour.
weird.
That makes it way more intimidating. A tied up beard.
Yeah.
You look like you're a member of Korn from
Terrifying.
1999.
Terrifying.
Terrifying.
Like Monkey, or one of the guy with the kilt,
Yeah, Jonathan.
Jonathan. I was going to say Jonathan Bro, but that's not right.
Not right, Jonathan.
Jonathan. Fuck, what was his name? That's bad. Is that bad? Maybe that's
Nah,
great.
You don't need to know Korn. They're all right. They do what they do.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Jonathan.
That's Jack TT. Oh.
Jonathan Davis.
Davis.
Jonathan Davis.
Nah. What was he making those? Yes, he should have done the home improvement noise.
He was, Tim Allen, he was a freak on a leash, I'll tell you that much.
Freak off the leash.
Dimebag has since been ranked in many compilations of top guitarists of all times, including the number one guitarist by UK magazine Metal Hammer.
Number one of all time. Amazing.
Yeah. I don't think that you'd get heaps of people agreeing with that, but he's definitely known as a very great, very influential heavy metal guitarist. And then, as we said at the start, talking about Vinnie Paul, but he took the death of his brother very hard. So there's a lot of tragedy in that
So
family.
he was there playing.
He was there. He saw it all. He's right.
That would be so awful.
Oh.
Yeah. So he took a little bit of time off music before joining this band called Hell Yeah.
Great name.
In 2006, who I saw around that time at a festival in Melbourne.
Was there any other members of other bands in it?
Yes, they're quite a super group. Hell yeah.
I just love the term supergroup. It's so good.
It is.
What was the Australian supergroup called that got together and did Evie, all 3 parts of Evie?
the Stevies. I think was it they're called because it was after Stevie Wright or the Wrights.
The Rights.
And not the Stevies, the Wrights. Damn it.
The Rights, that's right.
Yeah, so they had their vocalist was from Mudvayne.
Yeah.
Nothing Face. And yeah, so they members, they all played in different metal bands beforehand. And yeah, they released a bunch of albums, and
Did you rate them at all?
Still going right up to his death. I didn't love. To be honest, I didn't really listen to them beyond their first album, which I thought I didn't love. But now I've just listened to their tracks of their most recent album, and it's pretty cool. So I'm gonna probably delve back into them coming up.
Right, and have they said yet how Vinny died?
Yeah, so they weren't sure at first, but it sounds like it was a massive heart attack,
Right.
which was interesting. For some reason, I'm like, did he take his life because of the pain from and all the trauma from seeing his brother killed? But yeah, I don't know why. Like the heart attack, I was like, oh, that's
Awful.
yeah. I mean, it's whatever it was going to be sad.
Yeah.
But
Did him and Phil ever talk again, or was it?
nah, you'd see Rex in the middle was sort of trying to get something happening, and there was basically Vinnie Paul's like, without Dime, there's no Pantera.
Don't worry about it, yeah.
But he also kind of, I think he maybe blamed Phil in some ways for it. People in between, even Dimebag's longtime girlfriend was trying to get him to talk again, but you'd see Vinnie Paul in interviews, and he'd be like, "No, I don't really want to talk about that. Nothing more needs to be said about that."
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, he just wasn't. Certainly not now. Who knows what would have happened in the future? But it never quite happened. He has talked about there's recordings of Dimebag that he sort of things they were working on when Dimebag died that have never been released, and he's like, they're all in the vault, and I'm gonna. This is in the interview I was watching from a year or two ago, and he's like, yeah, when I've got time, I'm gonna put them all out. I'm gonna work on them. Maybe I'm gonna get guest vocalists on them, and we'll put them out. And I'm like, oh fuck, so sad. It's all so bloody sad. So he was 54, so he's still relatively a young man, and that I guess brings us right up to date.
What about Rex Brown?
Rex Brown actually. So he played with Down for a while, and he's played with a bunch of different bands, and he released his debut solo album, I think it was last year, which I quite liked as well, sort of a hard sort of southern rocky kind of album.
Just southern rock bass lines.
Yeah. Dum, 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 dum.
12 tracks.
There's
Nothing but bass.
There's a good. It was called Smoke on This.
Oh, yeah.
The
I like
titles
that.
are very good.
Very good stuff.
Yeah. So
Is it like was the album cover like someone's ass with like a joint poking out of it?
I think it was him lighting up a smoke, I think, but yeah, he went pretty literal. You know, it's a real opportunity to get that ass back into Walmart.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Which I think they'd be on board with now.
Yeah, I think they would be. I think they'd be ready. Yeah.
Didn't sound like they lived the healthiest lifestyles.
No, I mean they
Possibly that contributed to the heart attack.
yeah. I didn't talk about that much, but they were famous partiers as well.
Sure.
They had the famous I said Dimebag had this. They used to drink this thing called Blacktooth Grin. I think it was. I don't know if they made it up or if that was already like a famous cocktail, but it was like bourbon and all sorts of crap mixed in. Blacktooth Grin.
Oh no!
I think that's what it was called.
It sounds nasty.
Don't
Tell Jess about it now.
They used to release home videos, which are really just like them going around on handy cams, cutting them together. It's like early kind of Jackass stuff, sort of a lot of fucking around.
Cool.
And they'd have this road guy, like real confusing sketches. Like there was like, I don't know who he was, like their tech or something. And he'd be like the Hulk. He'd be painted green and just flexing at the... And then they do like these long compilations of them throwing plastic cups at gigs out into the crowd a little bit in, and people catching it and drinking it. They'd figured out the way to throw it so the beer would stay in the cup.
Nice.
And there was just all these compilations, just a lot of fun. So they're a fun time kind of band, a partying
How were
band.
people watching them back in the day?
VHS. So that's how they were initially released as the
Like a
home
Pantera.
videos, and then they
That's fun.
ended up coming out on DVD as well. You can still bloody get all that stuff.
Do you watch it on YouTube?
Black Dime. The first thing I just searched Blacktooth Grin. I think it must be his thing because it came up. The first thing that came up is Dimebag Darrell's Blacktooth Grin is his drinkable legacy.
It sounds already bad.
Yeah, I mean the name of it sounds
Not
pretty nasty
appealing.
in itself. What is it? What does it specifically entail? So it's essentially, apparently, according to this article on munchies.vice.com,
I trust them.
it was named after a lyric in Megadeth's Sweating Bullets. It's essentially a double shot of Seagram's 7 and a double shot of Crown Royal tossed over ice, or not, and splashed with just enough Coca-Cola to give it a darkened hue. So that's 4 shots, I guess.
Whoa. That sounds nasty. And if you come to our Sydney show, Jess and I will be serving blacktooth grins all
No,
night long.
Absolutely not. No.
Well,
Are
it
you
looks
never
like-
drinking again at the
No.
moment?
Looks like it's just me. I'll be having shot after shot of the blacktooth grin.
The end of that half hour of feeling good is approaching.
Yeah. It actually
that's
has been
bad.
about half an hour.
Yeah.
Well
Dave
timed.
gives it a yeah.
No. Sorry, Jess.
So we should, having wrapped up the report,
Well done, Matt. That is a great report. I'm sorry that they died.
that's beautiful, Dave. Thank you so much
It is tragic.
for those heartfelt words.
But a very timely report, because I feel like that maybe you could have done this report at another time.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been full closure.
I
Now
just-
there's a bit of-
I didn't know how.
They're never getting back together. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. I just did not know how to feel about it when I got that Google alert. I was like, "Oh, you're kidding." That was really anyway. So this week's fact, quote, or question, which is a Patreon each week. Have you explained this, Dave?
I have no. I mean, did you leave the room to vomit?
No. I mean, have you ever explained it? Because I don't know if I've
Right, I thought you
I've
meant-
tried it and I've never explained it particularly well.
All right. Honestly, I thought what you meant was. Sorry, have you already explained
Did
this?
I
Dave?
miss this?
Basically, fact, quote, or question is a new Patreon supported segment where people that support us on patreon.com/dogoonpod, which is if you ever want to support the show.
On the Sydney Scheinberg level.
That's right. These people, we pick one at random to submit a fact, quote, or question that we will broadcast on the show. What do we got this week, Matt?
And they also get to choose their own title.
Oh, yes. In
So-
terms of where they rank within the Do Go On company.
Exactly. And this week, it's Trey Maverick.
Trey.
Trey's been a big supporter of the show. What's
Yeah.
Trey's job title?
He said, "You can use my full legal title since it's already pretty badass, and that is Joseph Lee Maverick III."
Very good.
He said, "Or Joseph, son of Joseph, son of Joseph."
I like that one.
Yeah, me too.
And
Joseph, son of Joseph, son of Joseph.
That's a great business card.
he's chosen fact.
Oh, I love a good fact.
Okay.
Blow our minds.
I
son of
reckon.
Joseph.
Well, I have a feeling that you might know this fact because it's also. Anyway, I'll just say it, and you can tell me if and why you do know it. The fact is, there is no such thing as a fish.
That is true, and it's also the title of that QI-inspired podcast.
That's right. So that, and I never put together why that would be the name of that, but that is, of course, because that is a fact.
That is one of their facts.
And he said, it's true. Well, kind of. Fish is not a biological stratification. It's kind of like the word bug in that it doesn't refer to any specific species or genus. But everybody pretty much knows what you mean when you say it.
Oh, that's cool.
That is Trey Maverick's fact.
Thank you, Trey. And No Such Thing as a Fish is a very popular but also very fun podcast.
I think they just toured Australia not too long ago. So they obviously
Yeah, they're huge.
they get around.
Yeah, they're the people that basically they're the researchers from QR. Yeah.
That's cool.
And thank you very much for your fact trade.
And another thing we do with our Patreon supporters, Dave, what's the other thing we do?
Well, basically, you can also vote on topics if you're a Patreon. You get 2 bonus episodes just for those supporters every single month. You get access to newsletters, pre-sales, that kind of thing. But you also, we pick 6 people in order of when they pledged. So we're getting through the back end of all the people. And we get to thank them for their support, and we give them a nickname or a title or something to do with the topic. Matt, what are you thinking?
What? This is not my role. This is Jess always does
Rock
this.
and roll name.
Rock and roll name.
Like
so
Dimebag.
And Rex Rocker.
Right. I love it. So
That's
good.
That's real good.
Well, can I kick off this week's thank yous for our
Yes,
patrons?
you certainly can.
All the way from Hampshire in Great Britain, I'd love to thank Mr. James Sutton.
Oh.
James Sutton.
Jimmy.
Jumpin' James.
Jumpin' Jimmy James.
I like it.
Jumpin'?
I like it a lot. He sounds like a 60s rocker.
Yeah,
Jumping
it's-
James.
Jumping James the Jackrabbit. Jumping James.
Thank you, Jumping James, all the way in Hampshire.
I try to take it up a notch, and then I looked up at you guys, and you guys were both like, "Bring it back down a notch,
Yeah,
mate."
come on, mate.
I mean, he's
You
Jumping James.
flew too close to the sun, and your wings have melted because they're made of water.
Wow.
Wow.
Ice
Water
wings.
melts. Okay.
They were made of water, then put in the freezer. Dave, come on, grow up.
Right.
I would also like to thank, if I may, and I think I may. I'm pretty sure this next person from Brisbane, Queensland, is a metalhead. Kate Johnson, who came and saw us up at the live show in Brisbane last year around.
Kate.
Really? A medal?
Yeah,
Kate Johnson.
Kate Johnson. She took us to that metal bar, Dave.
Oh, Kate, yeah. She's a massive metalhead.
Yeah.
She got tattoos
I think
of
she
metal
was-
bands and things. Kate, yeah, she was a
I
lot.
thought he was going to stop at tattoos. I was like, you have a tattoo. We all have a tattoo.
Yeah, no, sorry. Hers are very heavily music inspired.
Yes.
That was a great night out, actually, Kate.
Yeah, Kate.
And what was that place called? It was called the Crowbar.
Crowbar, that was it.
Jess, well, Kate Johnson, give him a metal name.
Oh, it's got to be Crowbar.
Oh,
Crowbar.
Kate Crowbar.
Kate the Crowbar Johnson.
Oh, that's good. Kate the Crowbar Johnson. Love that.
Love it.
So good.
Yes, well done.
Thank you very much, Kate.
Well, ex-girlfriend gave me a metal name, and that was Metallica.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Sounds like that she was pretty down with the music.
Like the band.
No, we get it.
Oh, I was gonna
Oh, I'm sorry.
try and do something there, but that's fine.
You're going to do a bit of a switcheroo?
Yeah, but that's okay.
Go on, no, do it.
No, it's too late. now.
Don't sulk. Come on.
was
Do you want to do it?
I was gonna say like the band Megadeth because
Yeah.
Dave Mustaine's a bit sad.
Yeah.
It's down, but you made sure to put an end to that. I'm glad you did because
That's what I do.
All right, I'm going to thank someone to get us out of this metal hole that we're putting in. I would like to thank from, if I may, Jess, can I go?
Please.
You can wrap us up
Great.
if you don't vomit.
Originally I was going to say, can I go first just in case? But no, let's go.
Are you sure? I would like to thank from WA, not Western Australia at all, Washington. From Mount Vernon, Washington, frequent tweeter and suggester Pete Free.
Pete Free.
Thank you so much, Pete. We love to have your
Oh,
support.
great, Pete.
I did not know that's how you pronounce Pete.
Yeah, because last time you said
Yeah, we
Piet.
Piet or
We've said
Piet.
Piet.
And I would have done that
before.
again.
I know.
Yeah, I
Thank
made
God
a
Dave
mental
was
note
here.
because I think she's suggested some topics before.
Yeah.
That's when
Free.
we stuffed it up last time. So thank you, Pete Free. And what would we call Pete Free?
Pete Free. What about the Flamin' Eagle?
Yeah,
Like a more old school sort of early metal kind of imagery there.
Yep.
Oh, right. Okay. Like dragons, Stonehenge.
Yeah. And then the bald eagle, Free.
Perfect. Love it.
And she's got a tattoo on her back of a bald eagle with spread wings, and just its head is on fire, and you can see a skull, kind of like that Nicolas Cage comic book movie. Do you remember that one?
Yeah,
I don't know the name.
Ghost Rider.
Ghost
I'm
Rider.
going to call it Ghost Man. Ghost Man. Thank you so much, Pete Free. Keep rocking out. I would like to thank all the way, I believe, from Sweden. Very exciting to have some Swedish support. I cannot pronounce with any real knowledge of how to pronounce where you're from, but it's Kungsangen.
Ooh.
I reckon that's pretty close.
I would like to thank Yannicka Larson. That is a brilliant
Larson.
name.
Yes.
Yannicka Larson.
So good. Bob, what do you got?
What have I got?
Yannicka Larson. What about
Banging heads, Larson. Banging,
Headbanger.
head banging. That's fucking
Yannicka Headbanging Larson?
badass.
That is fucking badass. When you hit banging heads at the midnight sun, Yannicka Larson's there.
I feel like we're playing one down here today. Normally Jess is carrying us through this segment, and
I'm doing great.
I never realized how much she carried us until today when she did not rock up. It's too bad. It's weird doing the show with just the two of us
Don't worry,
again.
Matt. You and I will step up for these last two names. I'm sure of it. We'll
Okay.
get some great ones.
Janet, look, Yannicka Larson, the headbanger, that's pretty iconic.
Yannicka the Headbanger.
Well, I would like to thank a couple of people too before I go throw up again.
Okay, great.
From
From this very mouth that's thanking you, vomit will be coming out very soon.
it's very exciting. From British Columbia
British Columbia.
in Canada. I would like to thank Callie Trey.
Oh, that is already a great name.
So
Callie
good.
Trey. So good. You
All
give
aboard.
me one word, Dave, and I'll do the second word, all right?
Okay.
You give me a real metal verb, and I'll go some sort of a hard noun.
Okay. Rusty.
Total.
Rusty Total. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it.
I said total, but
Oh, okay. No, total, even better. Rusty Total. I mean, was that a
Total.
hard noun? Total?
I think I was.
What is it? Is that a
I
word?
think I was trying to say turtle, but I started saying
Total.
total. It's a part toad, part turtle,
Yeah, cool.
and it's rusty.
Rusty Total. Well,
Rusty total.
That doesn't seem healthy, but thank you, Kelly.
yeah, Kelly.
And
All right, Matt, we'll do another one now.
All
We'll
right,
get this.
I'm going to say an actual thing this time.
And I'd also like to thank from this very studio somebody who has supported us.
Dave, have you been supporting?
Yes, I have. It's really because Patreon takes the money off it, so really I'm losing money. They take their cut from the money
Yeah,
I'm giving
good
us.
point. Okay, I meant the wider building that we're in.
Oh, the owner
Stupid
of the building.
Old Studios. I would like to thank the beautiful boy himself, Evan Munro Smith.
EMS.
The host of Gamey Game.
Oh, what a show. What a man.
Evan Munro Smith. All right.
Also the man who wrote our theme song and
Yeah.
wrote and performed it.
And he still supports us monetarily. Thank you so much, Evan. You legend. And what have you think of the verb and I'll go noun.
Okay. Ball tearing.
Hook. That's pretty good.
That's pretty great.
Ball tearing hook.
The ball tearing
And
hook.
appropriate.
Yeah,
He doesn't have enough names already. Evan, the ball tearing hook, Munro Smith.
Yeah, I love it. Great.
that's great.
Awesome.
Finish strong.
I think we've really summed up his essence there.
Thanks, Evo.
Thanks, Evo. You're a legend. He does so much for this show. So, and we also love his show, Gamey Game. Well, let's give him a plug. Go check it out on YouTube. It's the best video game panel show I've ever seen.
And we've all been on it multiple times, so you should go check that out. Maybe we'll put that in the description. There's a link to all of our episodes on there, so I'll put that link in the description.
Yeah, check out the playlist of the times Do Go On. We're on Gamey Game. Even once when we were all there. That was
Yes,
fun.
that's true.
That was fun. We talked about The Sims.
We're all big gamers.
Oh, I love
Gaming.
Furry's World or whatever the game I played.
Always World's what you were calling it.
Oh, yeah, but it's called,
It's not that.
it's called like Ratchet and Wank or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's
Nailed
Good
it.
fun.
That's it.
Good fun. And you can get in contact anytime with us, guys. All the contact details are now conveniently listed on dogoonpod.com, our pretty new website. There's also merch there. A link there. You click merch, it takes you to Redbubble, and there's 2 designs up at the moment. We're going to have some more coming up. And right now you can get T-shirts, but you can put that design on pretty much anything else. You can put it on pants, on hoodies.
Pants
Mugs.
Terror.
Yes,
Pantera.
you can put it on pants. You can be the pants.
Can we get like a Do Go On style like metal logo?
Yes,
Oh my goodness, that would be fun.
absolutely yes.
Thanks, Bob.
Let's get Kappa onto it.
Can we have it? And it just says like tear and balls since 2016
Sure.
or 2015 when we actually launched. No, the first few months we didn't put tear balls.
Nah, but
Balls
after
are
that we
intact.
started tearing
Yeah.
balls.
Actually, I'd love to also plug our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/dogoonpod. I'm almost up to date with all the episodes, and there's a couple of live videos from our live shows up there as well. And maybe a couple. I think there's a video of Dave headbutting and humping the watermelons in there somewhere as well.
Yeah, so check that out.
Good content.
Hot content.
No
I want to try and put more stuff up.
No regrets. Yeah, so please, subscribe to the channel because the more people that subscribe there, the more we'll be like, yeah, let's do it. Let's put some stuff up. That'll be a lot of fun. And you can suggest a topic through the website. And I guess that's pretty much it for this week. Jess,
it.
what are you going to do tonight?
I'm going to go throw up again.
All right.
Can we please wrap up?
All right, let's wrap up. Thank you so much for listening. Until next week, I will say thank you and goodbye.
Later.
Bye. Help me.
Thanks for doing that, Bob. Thanks for hanging
Yeah,
around.
you took one for the team there.
This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates. I mean, if you want. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Certainly not the Bob,
Some of them.
who is perfect.
Perfect in every way.
And that's why she is regularly retweeted by Mr. Russell Crowe.
Oh, we've got to talk quickly about that. Jess, how does it feel to be retweeted by Academy Award winner Russell Crowe?
Well, look, all it's really done has
Changed you inherently.
yeah,
Made you a better person.
better, newer, more focused.
Newer. Refreshed.
Yeah, I feel invigorated. I am so focused.
And it also exposed you to so many new fans.
Yeah.
People encouraging you, I imagine, writing
Definitely.
nice things about you.
Yeah, people.
Crowbots, I think they call Russell Crowe fans.
Oh, that's good.
That is good.
So that's what they used to call the Adelaide Crows when they were
Crowbots.
very like regimented team in the mid 2000s. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What a weird sidetrack early. But that how good was that?
That was very good. I
But-
didn't get any extra followers from it.
Didn't you?
Maybe like 3.
Really?
But I just got a lot of comments of like,
I thought 'cause
this
it-
is offensive. I was like, I'm not sure how, but okay.
Oh boy.
And then one that was in Italian.
Molto
Did you
bene.
translate?
I did translate. I understood what one of them was.
Was it a swear word?
No. But the other word, nothing
Groucho Marx.
nothing came up in Google Translate. I was like, that's odd. And then that person actually tweeted again, like correcting her spelling mistake.
Oh.
So what she was saying was like funny laugh. Cute laugh,
This is the
maybe.
reach that Russell Crowe has.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm reaching Italy.
He's multi-million follower.
2.7.
2.7. Who's counting?
That's kind of low.
I reckon he's gone up to 2.8 since he's retweeted your content.
Because you look at like Kim Kardashian, she's on like 60 million.
Right. That is low. Maybe he's just getting it anyway. He's been hot on it lately.
Yeah, he has.
He's probably, I imagine he's another person that if you did a report on, you would find that you don't like him that
Yep.
much. Potentially. I don't know.
Probably.
He's a roguish brute.
Anyway, but he's a good friend of mine and a
Yeah.
colleague and mentor.
Sorry,
so
sure.
please show some respect for Rusty.
A gladiator mentor.
Yeah.